This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
This episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN.
Red hot comic book movie news, shooting up your butthole. The Weekly Planet, the Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday. With me, as always, is my co-host Nick Mason.
Ooh, a bit chilly in the podcast room, you know what I mean?
I didn't want to put the heating on.
I meant emotionally chilly.
Oh, yeah, as always.
You give me a bit of a chill
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
He's frosted me out.
you know, we act warm towards each other on the show, but before and after,
Separate private jets to here.
that's right.
I mean, you live here.
Doesn't matter.
So
I circle the neighborhood, I come back.
back down. Well, speaking of Frosty, you were talking about Frosty the Snowman before we started recording.
You said Frosty the Snowman for some
did.
reason.
I did.
And I said, he's not really a thing here. Like, we know him, but we don't respect him. You know what I
True.
mean?
We'd beat him up if he came to this neighborhood.
100%. I put my fist right through him, mate.
Oh my God.
The big snowman.
You say that, but you think you would. You'd be the
that
you'd be
hard-packed snow,
you'd be the
actually,
cool,
yeah.
No, you'd be the cool guy at the party. Be like, "Well, watch me put my fist right through him," and then you'd punch through, and then you'd be like, "Oh no, it's so cold," and then your arm would snap off. You know when you see it in the movies,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and it'd be like red and frosty.
Would he, like, he'd be alive and he'd be like, ha, ha,
Yeah, exactly.
ha,
Yeah,
ha.
yeah,
Okay,
because
cool.
he's a cursed snowman.
Yeah, well, isn't there that killer Frosty the Snowman movie?
Almost certainly.
And
yeah.
maybe the movie Jack Frost, where Michael Keaton inhabits the spirit of a
Yeah,
snowman
maybe.
or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, fuck him. I'm not about him.
I was going to say, can't you at least be on board with Frosty as far as bad horror
not.
movie adaptations go?
No,
All
fine.
right,
I can do that.
What about Halloween? How do you feel about Halloween?
I like it, man.
I like it too.
I mean, we're not really getting it this year,
No, that's
obviously.
true. We can do Tella Halloween.
Tell Halloween.
It's brought to you
What
by
about Nutella Halloween? You put
Yeah.
a tub of Nutella
Yep.
out the front. Kids just go past and they
Grab a
scoop up a
handful.
handful.
Yes, please. That's right.
Yeah, I
Now,
know.
don't take the whole jar and don't get the jar stuck on your arm. But it's one of those enormous ones, the novelty ones you get for people's birthdays. and
Ah,
stuff.
yes. So do you do Halloween where you are? Or do the kids don't come to your door, though? 'Cause
No,
you
they
can't get direct
That's true,
access,
yeah,
can
so I
they?
can just pretend I'm not home.
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Graffiti the gate? Ha!
You're not even going to deal with that.
No, that's right.
Probably a guy that
There's
does
a guy that deals with that.
Yeah,
a guard
cool.
that I put out. He's got a spear.
Great.
Yeah. He can stab 3-4 kids at a time with that spear.
Kid kebab.
Kid kebab, that's right.
Excellent stuff.
This went off the rails quickly, didn't
That's
it?
fine,
this
because
episode?
I think it. Oh, by the way, I was going to say it goes straight into the first thing we were talking about, which it does, because we're going to be talking about that Mad Max prequel. There's Spider-Man news. We've got a topic about TV shows that didn't end well, because there's a TV show that didn't end well that's coming back. Trailers for Monster Hunter and Jiu Jitsu.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman and Superman news and the Batman. There's a bunch of other stuff going. Snoke updates. Do you want a Snoke update? We could do that.
Wait. Oh, yes. It took me a minute to remember who Snoke was. I'm like, Snoke, Harry Potter character? Nope, that's not right. James is after an answer. How much time has passed? I'm really not sure at this point. Oh, Star Wars. Yep, I get it.
Perfect,
I know
you've
who
done
Star-
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know who Snoke is.
There's time codes below if you do want to check it out. But Deadline have reported that Furiosa prequel has been cast, and it seems like it's
Anya
moving forward.
Taylor-Joy,
Anya
right?
Taylor-Joy. George Miller is coming back, and the whole crew who worked on the last one. She's going to be Furiosa. How do you feel about that?
I don't really know who Anya Taylor-Joy is. I know she's in the New
Split
Mutants.
and
Oh, she's in the
Vivitch.
She's the lady that Split falls in love with.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
One
right.
of his personalities, maybe. I
Yeah,
can't
okay, I
remember.
know who she is. Okay.
And I think she's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they tested the head shape to see if it's a match with Charlize Theron's head shape?
It doesn't matter at this point.
I guess they could CGI extra bumps on.
Yeah,
like If
totally.
they shave her head and they're like, oh, this isn't right.
If they can CGI an arm off,
That's
they can-
unnatural, Anya Taylor-Joy. We've never seen a woman with a head like that
You
before.
don't like it. You're fired, obviously. I still think if you're going to do a prequel, just get Charlize Theron. She looks mostly the same. You put
Yeah.
some grease on her. It doesn't matter. She
Yeah.
could be any age. But hey, whatever. This is, they seem to know what they're doing with George Miller in general. So I'm not really too.
But I mean, she cut her
Worried.
own arm off for Fury Road.
How did she get it back?
That's what I'm saying. How are they going to put it back in the?
You talking in real life? What are we doing here?
I'm saying real life. We're going with real life. The joke in this instance was she cut her own arm off for
Okay,
real
cool.
life.
Yeah. Gotcha. Very good. It's a good joke.
Thank you.
So Yahya Abdul-Mateen, who played the second, he played Dr. Manhattan. He was also recently in the trial of Chicago 7. He's also
and he's
in that.
in Black Mirror.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But he's playing Praetorian, which sounds like a Mad Maxy name.
Doesn't it though? Yeah.
And Christopher Hemsworth is playing Dementus. He's apparently going to have a long silver scar down his face. Sounds like a bad guy, maybe?
Nah, long silver scar could mean anything.
Dementus? They don't normally get that name.
Maybe he's Dementus for good value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah. That's entirely possible. So that's all good news, I think. I'm glad we're getting another Mad Max, and maybe it'll come out in the next 40 years. You know,
Maybe,
since
who
the
knows?
last one took that long to come out or whatever it was.
Yeah.
What was it? Mad Max 3 was like maybe 86. I can't
Something
even
like that,
remember. Yeah, and then 2015. Let me
Do
just
you
check.
think he's going to do it again? Do you think this is going to be lightning in a bottle, or do you think he's going to?
I think he can do it.
Yeah.
I think he can definitely do it. 85.
Because I don't really like. I've never seen anything he's done in between Mad Max and Mad Max 3 and Fury
He did
Road.
Babe 2, which is apparently very
Yeah.
good. He didn't do a lot. He did a lot of producing and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I guess that's probably true,
He did Happy Feet,
Yep.
which is like
See, I haven't seen
I'm not
Happy
really.
Feet.
I'm not. It's not
Yeah.
really big on it, to be honest. But it's
yeah.
not for me. Also,
That's true.
But yeah. Anyway, let's
Very
move.
specifically, it was not for you. They wouldn't let you in.
They wouldn't let me do it. I didn't want to though. I didn't want to go.
That sounds like a man who desperately wanted to go see Happy Feet.
I don't know. Just the whole dancing penguins, and I just didn't like the society they set up. It kind of looked like stupid.
You walked the whole way home just staring at your shoes, going like more like sad feet. Oh.
I got tap dancing
Yeah.
shoes on.
But
Just
they just
clippity
go, they just go, yeah.
As I sadly walk over the rain.
One clips and one goes wow.
They're not bad. I just, again, not for me. But trailers ahoy, Mason. First one is Jiu Jitsu, a Nicolas
Oh my
Cage
God.
helmed. Seems like some kind of stuntman action reel movie. It's one of those.
See, that's the thing. Like, and I think some people tweeted at us, you should look at Jiu Jitsu. And I'm like, oh,
Sure.
has Nicolas Cage learned Jiu Jitsu for this movie? I don't know what it is. I don't think he has.
No.
But it looks like, I mean, it's clearly a Predator knockoff and an incredibly bad one.
Predator, Mortal Kombat.
Cheap, just looks.
Yeah.
It looks like if any other actor I knew was in this trailer, I would assume that it would go for like a minute, and then like a director would call cut, and then it would pull back, and it's on a soundstage, and the
Yeah.
actual movie is about a man who is the star of terrible action movies, but actually
Yes.
he wants to get away from it all. And
It's the movie Drive.
It's exactly right.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so this isn't something you're interested in
It
watching.
looks like a terrible movie within a movie, and not in a good way.
Yeah, I don't think I'll watch this. I don't really like bad good movies or good bad movies.
Maybe
or
it's like
whatever
a
you wanna
Charlie.
call
Maybe
it.
maybe Cage is teaming up with Charlie Kaufman again, and it's going to be
Oh
it's
my
going to be very
goodness.
meta.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, he knows what he's doing, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Nicolas Cage.
No,
He's
he
just,
doesn't.
He's just spiraling. But then, as we mentioned recently, occasionally does something amazing.
Yeah.
because he can.
It's not this though.
You never know.
I don't think it is.
He's not doing an accent.
Did you get to the bit at the end where he's
did
like,
a
"I
flip?
can fly too," and then it's clearly a stuntman does a flip.
That was the sting of the trailer as well.
Yeah.
Terrific stuff. I don't know. I think it's supposed to be taken in jest. It's a jape. You know what I mean? It's a homage to action movies.
It didn't look
of
funny
old.
enough, but no, I don't think it was.
No, I think it is one of those things where it's probably like shot by stuntmen and starring stuntmen, and it's a great like stunt performance movie.
Did the stunts even look that good?
I don't know anything about stunts.
I
Yeah.
didn't see any good
I can't
stunts in
do a
that
spin
trailer.
kick like any of that.
I mean,
though.
was Tony Jaa in
Tony
it?
Jaa's in it, maybe.
I don't
But he
know.
might not be in it.
Right?
I don't know.
Maybe Nicolas Cage gave Tony Jaa some financial advice, and now they both have to be in this movie.
Oh, the
And they're
curse of
really
Cage.
at odds in this.
Yeah, well, they would
Yeah.
be, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Speaking of Tony Jaa, though, we got a full trailer for Monster Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
Or as it should be called, Mila Jovovich is inserted into another video game property that her character is not in.
And they've definitely put the final battle and possibly the final scene of the movie into this trailer.
Spinning big Kratos blades, but also
Yes.
probably swords from the real game.
That's right.
And big smoke and fire and lightning and a big...
Yeah.
The monsters don't feel distinct. I thought they would. I feel like they do in the game. Whenever I see the game, I'm like, that one looks different than that one.
Yeah, right.
But this I don't know. But apparently the people who made Monster Hunter are like, primo, this is where it's at.
Okay, right.
So
People are on board. Okay.
We'll see, won't we?
Yeah, maybe this will be the one.
This will be the
good video game
The
adaptation.
best one is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. A good one, yes.
Yeah, a good one. So that's coming out still at the end of the year.
Okay.
But probably not because, nothing is.
Yeah.
It's but don't dismay us,
Oh,
obviously.
okay, no
I don't
dismays.
I don't think we got any major delay news this week.
I don't think so, no.
That was all last week and week before.
Was there some? I think Disney said this week that they're focusing on some core pillars of their business, and one of them they're really focusing on streaming.
Yeah.
and I think that led to
I'm gonna talk about that, yeah.
I think that led to like a new round of suggestions that Black Widow may be coming to streaming at some point.
Well, do you want to talk about that? Let's talk about that.
No, I don't. I refuse.
Let me find it.
I like
Where
to
wrote
lead
that
you up
down.
to a point, and then, in fact, I'm leaving.
So the reason though I was going to bring up that is because this is our famous segment. Move up, more like boo. Everything is awful. Doesn't matter. Let's not. I do too many. Let's not do callbacks anymore. Let's not reference any previous show that we've ever done.
Okay.
All right. I hate.
So wait. So in this scenario, do we have to assume that the listeners don't know who we are either?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we have to. Well, we have introduced ourselves.
I think
already.
I should just rename.
James. This is a chance to start fresh.
Yeah.
We can invent whole new backstories for ourselves.
Let's go.
I drive a tram for my job.
I'm sad.
Well, life finds a way, doesn't it?
Certainly does.
Really, yeah.
But I'll just rename every episode 1. So whenever you come in, you're like, ground floor, here we go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, perfect.
That's what a person on the internet loves to do. Try a new thing.
New and untested, yeah. Mm-hmm. So Coming to America is coming to Amazon. Looks like they're going to buy that.
Now, this is the series based on the...
No, this is the sequel based on the
movie. Oh.
Eddie Murphy's back and whoever else is in that movie.
Yeah.
And Pixar's Soul is going to Disney Plus, but on Christmas Day, but no additional cost.
Oh, my goodness.
So you don't need to pay your $30 or $40. You can just have it for free. They must have crunched the numbers and realized that Milan probably did more harm than good because their shareholders apparently saying, let's put an emphasis on streaming.
Yeah.
Like the money in parks is huge, as well as merch and food and everything else that goes on in their empire.
Yes.
But none of that is possible.
No.
So you do this, don't you?
Sure do.
I was listening to, might have been the Escapist podcast, where someone was talking about that, how if a Netflix gets a customer, they get something like $1,000 over their lifetime.
Okay, because they sign up for something and then
and they just keep it. And Disney is like maybe half of that.
Really?
So the idea is that you keep them on board, the more money you get out of them. A subscription service for a podcast that maybe you'd think doesn't require one.
That's right.
Hypothetically, let's say.
I understand.
Yeah.
We're starting fresh, guys.
But so...
I guess that's true because with Netflix, you can always... every month you get a what's coming up this month, and it's like it's stuff from all over the place, and it's like new movies and old movies and TV shows you've forgotten about and whatever.
Yes.
But with Disney, it's kind of like, well, we know what their back catalog is, and it's all mostly there.
Yeah.
And if you've watched what you want, then all you have is the new season of The Mandalorian and some Marvel stuff. And
some
you can
Disney insider stuff where they're like, look at the people at the parks, and I'm like, I don't want to. No, thank you. I don't want to.
Makes me feel bad.
Makes me feel bad. They're smiling, but I don't
That's right.
believe any of this. Yeah.
Wait a second, they're just wearing masks with smiley faces on them.
So I mean, there's apparently that Imagineering show which is quite good. It's about creativity and making stuff or something. I don't know.
And there's Jeff Goldblum is puzzled by things.
Yes, but apparently
week.
not good or fine.
I thought it was fine.
Okay, well there you go. Wow.
Yeah.
But I'm there for like Mandalorian, new movies, Marvel TV shows. That's why I'm there.
And they've made the mistake of letting us subscribe and unsubscribe whenever we want.
That's
so
right.
I guess a lot of people are doing that.
But I think we're going to start to get things more consistently now, especially because a bunch of their stuff has to go there at this point. So they're pressuring to move Black Widow there. So like they've said previously that it's definitely not going to go to streaming, but everything's
Somebody
up
in the meeting's like, this is definitely going to go to screaming, guys. If I don't get my way... Sounds like somebody's signing up for Dave's Gonna Start Screaming Plus. Here we go.
So what would you say is going to happen to Black Widow if you're looking at the world?
Well,
specifically the US, I guess.
If they do this, they kind of open the floodgates in a way. I mean, I don't know. Like, what is the strategy? I don't feel like anybody who loves Marvel movies is going to cool off on Marvel movies because there isn't one for a year. I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
you need to... There needs to be one sooner rather than later at this point, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, but they've also got WandaVision and whatever. But yeah. What do you think the time period is then on something like that before people just go, I don't care?
A year and a day.
Wow, that's
right.
coming up, Mason.
Isn't it though? Yeah.
It might even be longer than the actual delay time. But you still got some stuff in the middle, don't you? Like, again, well, you've got one thing. You've got WandaVision, which is coming up in December, it turns out, because it wasn't in the coming up in November Disney
that's right.
Plus thing that they do.
I mean, I get it involves like how long the pandemic is thinking about going on for.
What's it thinking?
How long the pandemic is going to go for? Because if it's going to, if we might have this for some considerable amount of time.
It seems like a lot of next year is also going to be a write-off in terms of a lot of things, because even if there is, a vaccine, you got to administer it. It's, it takes
me
time.
personally.
You personally,
oh
but
God, there's so many people as well.
I know people
My
talk,
hands are so shaky.
but people talk about herd mentality in a way that like
You mean herd immunity?
Herd immunity, sorry. People also talk about herd mentality, and that certainly
sure
plays
do.
a factor in this. But people's understanding seems to be you let it just run rampant through a community, but that kills a lot of people, and it's not super effective at keeping people alive. But the idea behind it really is 95% of the people get an inoculation, and then that protects the 5% that don't.
Correct.
But what do I know? Because I know that's probably too political for some people. Fuck me, right? but look.
But what I'm saying is, to bring it somewhat back on topic, is that if this might go for another year, then we open the floodgates for Black Widow, and then the fans are like, well, we got Black Widow, so stuff you haven't filmed yet, give it to us.
Give it to us, yeah. But that immediately,
give us the rough cut of Spider-Man 3. Where is it?
Give a shit. Give it. Hand it over. Give it.
Yeah. Give
me.
Give Spider-Man. Give.
But yeah, you're right. It does it definitely opens things up. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. Like,
do you think trailers could go to Disney Plus? That would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Or like
and $5 each.
Yeah, they could do it.
Gather the family around.
I would have to literally pay to do that for this. Would you pay $5 for a trailer outside of this?
Ooh,
I wouldn't. People did it for like the Phantom Menace. They all saw Meet Joe Black.
Oh, that's true. They did.
I was actually talking about with Claire today, and she's like, "Why are you telling me this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You said Brad Pitt play. You asked me a question about Brad Pitt.
You asked me a question about Brad Pitt, and I got jealous, so I had to go into my mind palace where the scene in Meet Joe Black happens where he gets hit by a car a bunch of times. It's the only way I can get through this. And so I thought about Meet Joe Black, and then I thought about the Phantom Menace. Claire.
Don't you love how that clip resurfaces every now and then?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that has everybody not seen that at this point? It's incredible.
Yeah.
It was incredible at the time. Do you remember it was a big deal at the time?
That's the best part of that movie.
Yeah, exactly. And the Phantom Menace trailer that played before.
What I was going to say is that I guess, if you're a high muckety market Disney, surely you're immune mostly to that sort of stuff. Like, it's not like, even if the fans send spiders to the Disney headquarters because in a symbolic measure of demanding Spider-Man 3 on Disney Plus. Well, if you're a top brass, you're not getting that. It's all the interns opening the boxes and getting stung by spiders.
Space full of spiders. Spiders they're probably on springs.
Yeah.
Big
springy spiders.
Big spring.
Hashtag springy spiders for Spider-Man.
If it's your first episode, that's actually a very clever callback to episode 234. So you might want to check that one out. It'll tie in perfectly, and you're gonna get all of that.
Yeah,
it's an even better joke than you think. Is what my point. Anyway, Mason, it's not. MODOK got a trailer.
Yeah.
They should put trailers on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. MODOK. It's so Patton Oswalt is MODOK. He's trying to keep AIM in check with his family and everything, and he's trying to run things. What do you think? It's stop motion?
Yeah, is it claymation or is it something akin to claymation?
Yeah, I guess. So whatever
but it's not computer generated.
No, I think maybe the mouths are.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It looks like Robot Chicken-esque a bit.
It does, doesn't it?
More polished because it looks less like action figure-y.
I think it has a lot of potential. Yeah. And so he has a wife who is a regular woman.
Yes.
And he has two children.
One of
whom is a regular
MODOK.
children, and one of whom is a MODOK.
Isn't he married to like a lady MODOK in the comics?
I don't. There is a Modam who is Lady MODOK, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if they're
They'd be kissing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, you don't know if they'd be kissing.
I don't know that.
Okay, cool, interesting. I don't know when this is out, but sure.
And what's this on Hulu?
Yeah,
Stars.
Whatever it's, I don't know because I don't know what it's on here either. Probably nothing.
Yeah.
And the last trailer, which you made me watch just before this, was The Watch.
Yeah.
Based on the Terry Pratchett Discworld comic fantasy series.
Based on or inspired by.
Yeah,
because that's what they've said. They've said it's inspired by.
Well, I looked at this and I'm like, fine, this looks all right. What did the guy with the one eye from Game of Thrones and whatever? And then I looked at the ratio and it's like, whoa, people fucking hate this. Yeah, right. Why? And then it's like, oh, this is nothing like.
Well, that's the thing. It's if you look at the replies to maybe a tweet. The Watch have put it out. Almost every reply is a photo of a Terry Pratchett book and being like, hey, do you want to read this? You want to read this book? Maybe you could read. Is it too late to read these books? You
Yes.
wanna read the book? Yeah, it
They
is
should
too
reply,
late.
yes, obviously.
We made
it.
the
It's done.
show. It cost a lot of money. And all the actors are busy now, or they're inside because of the coronavirus.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Have you read Discworld?
Well, I've not read. I mean, I've
Any of it?
read maybe 10 Discworld novels.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's quite a lot.
That's quite a lot, but there
How
are
many are there?
There's a lot.
Are they that good? I mean, I guess so.
They're fun,
People
and
them,
they're
yeah.
but I wouldn't say I'm, the most massive Terry Pratchett fan.
I'd say that about you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Let's see how many books he's written. Terry Pratchett. Google says humorist. 41 novels, most of which are set on the Discworld.
Yeah,
which is a flat world, which is on the backs of some giant elephants, which are on the back of a giant tortoise.
Oh, very
Yeah,
good.
and it's a magical realm, and it's kind of like skewering the tropes of like fantasy literature and stuff like that.
Yeah, right, okay.
But it's all it's a lot of like
Haven't we skewered enough fantasy tropes at this point?
Well, that's the thing. I think that a lot of people are against this, and I think for a few reasons.
Yeah.
I think because we just spoke about MODOK.
Sure.
Like if you're a comic book movie fan, there's that version of MODOK, the funny one, the silly irreverent one.
Yeah.
But if you just played the Avengers game, you fight a different version of MODOK.
Probably. I didn't play it.
You do. And there's versions in the cartoons and there's versions in the comics.
I remember him from that Iron Man anime show from the 90s and being
yeah.
like, whose fucking idea was this? What the fuck is this? Is he dying? What is this? What's happened to him? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I know
like
what
a
you
thing
mean.
as a kid, like, I don't understand any of that.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm saying is that there's with almost any character in the Marvel universe or the DC universe, there's a whole bunch of different versions out
Sure.
there. And if you're like, well, I don't really like an irreverent take, or like this, even like Joker, if you're like, well, I don't like this version of the Joker because it's too much like real life. Well, there's the cartoon version and all the other movies and whatever.
There's
So
the three Joker comic where there's three Jokers, trade Jokers.
Still for some reason.
Yeah.
We don't know yet. But yeah, there's a lot of options. But if you're a Terry Pratchett fan, there hasn't been that many things. Like there's been a computer game, and I think there were 2 fairly recent adaptations of some of his stuff.
Oh.
Hogfather and The Colour of Magic,
And
maybe.
what is that, though? What does that come in the form of?
Oh, they were on the BBC. I think they were like
Okay,
miniseries,
right. Well,
which I
same
didn't
as
see.
these then. This is
Yeah,
the show, I guess. Yeah.
But they were like they were more accurate to the
Yeah, right.
And it's like this feels to
So
me
this
like
is not.
no, this is more.
But could it be set in the universe? You'd be like, oh, yeah, that could be happening down the street from.
No, the aesthetic's completely different.
Okay, right.
Like when you think like Discworld, it's more like a wizard wears big flowing robes with stars on them and a floppy hat.
And this is more like Game of Thrones
yeah.
with like Iggy Pop as
Which
the lead or
I
whatever.
feel like, and that's what I'm saying is like this feels like comic book movies back in the early days, where if like one sucked.
Yeah.
You had to wait 2 years for another one, and you'd say, I really like superhero comics, and people would be like, what, like Green Lantern? And you'd be like, no.
Oh, better one.
Better
The better one
ones.
they made.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to like write off any version of this for.
I mean, if it's bad, but
If
I mean,
it's
we
bad,
don't
yeah.
know. Like, I think it looks kind of fun. So I went on.
Well, that's what I thought. I
went
was
on
like,
the
yeah, whatever.
Twitters. I went on the Twitters and I asked people, what if are you a Terry Pratchett fan? And yes or no, and if you are. Or not.
Where
What
you
did you
at?
think of this?
Yeah.
Edward has said, I'm not a Pratchett fan, and judging by this trailer, I never will be.
Whoa.
That's pretty good. Let's see. Michael says, was a huge fan in my teenage years, and to me this looks like one of those rubbish, low-budget, straight-to-TV fantasy movies that are made for some inexplicable reason.
It does look a lot like the TV show Merlin,
It does a little bit, yeah.
which is not without its charm, Merlin.
Yeah, right.
I liked the Sam Neill version from the 90s.
Ackerwood40 says, it looks like Pirates of the Discworld. I can imagine a drunk Johnny Depp wandering through, ignoring animal immigration rules and not looking out of place.
Sure.
Richard says, I'm going to go in and enjoy it, but down the line become irrationally angry at it. My friend McKinley, who has a great newsletter that you can sign up to called The Whippet.
talked about that,
I have,
McKinley?
yeah. She said, let's see, she's a big fan, I knew that, and it looks like they're trying to do something new and interesting, and I'm for it because the straight adaptations have been boring as hell and not captured the chaos energy. Maybe it won't work, but at least it's trying something.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
And I think that's true. Like, and to me, this looks like they're going to be skewering modern tropes. Like as you said,
Yeah.
it looks kind of Game of Thronesy, and it looks kind of steampunky, like
Yeah.
weird weird fiction kind of stuff like that. And I think if you went in and you're like, oh, it's wizards and potions and spells and that sort of stuff, I think people would be like, what are you parroting here?
Where are we at? Yeah.
Right?
But don't you think also, I don't think we've really seen like that kind of wizards and potions and spells in live action, really, have we? It's like a dirtier world.
Yeah, I guess that's true, yeah.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't it be fun to see like a wizard in a big starry coat for no reason or whatever?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Right.
I think, but as someone who's I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's true, yeah. I think it looks kind of fun. Again, as someone who's like read enough of it to know how
10 specifically.
10-ish. Enough to know like how it works.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think this would work better. And I mean, if it gets reviewed well, maybe they'll do something else.
Well, that's the
set in this
possible.
world and like tip it slightly more towards the regular. Like maybe this is kind of like the darker underworld of that universe, and you could go, but on the other side of the city, it's kind of more fun.
Is it? So this strikes me as like Hitchhikers, but fantasy as well. Is that like the vibe?
Yeah,
of the books?
yeah.
Okay,
sure.
cool.
Also, she goes on to say, I've been really bothered by all the people saying I'm just upset because Discworld or some character is so important to me, as though it isn't important to people who aren't upset.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
People are like, well,
Well, I think if you're a fan of anything, you should always be upset about it.
I think so too, yeah.
That's my motto.
Gleam says, I'm not familiar with the source material at all, but to me that looks great.
Cool.
Joe says, I'm a big Pratchett fan and I honestly don't know what to make of this. Part of me is really upset at this, but the other half is kind of intrigued.
There you
Well,
go.
they got you.
They got you, mate.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, we'll see when that comes
There
out.
you go. I'm excited
maybe this
to
year,
give
wherever
it a whirl,
is.
yeah.
Oh, there was actually one more trailer. It was Animaniacs. They're back.
Oh, I didn't see. Who are they skewering in that trailer? It's somebody
Jurassic
famous.
Park.
Oh, yeah, Sam Neill, right?
Yeah, they do that scene from when they see the Brachiosaurus or Brontosaurus, the long neck one.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like the Animaniacs or whatever. It's going to be controversial. Never a huge fan of those three characters.
I don't know if that's... I think
Pinky and the Brain, I'm there all day.
Yeah.
But like those three,
Freakazoid?
is he in that world? Is he in that show though?
No, he's not. He's got.
I like Freakazoid. He's like pre-meme internet man.
Yeah.
But no, I was more. Well, that's Pinky and the Brain did get its own spin-off as well. Like it got a proper show eventually. But yeah.
Oh, because they were all Animaniacs had a whole bunch
It was
of
like
short
a
things.
series of,
Okay, right.
You know, there was the girl who liked the cat or whatever. I can't remember. The main thing I remember is Pinky and the Brain from those. Yeah, just me.
No, I think a lot of people are like, I don't know how I feel about the Animaniacs. You know?
Yeah. There you go.
Maybe there's a reason they were locked up in that water tower.
That's crimes.
Yeah, crimes, right?
Wasn't that the point though?
They killed the president. That's why they were in that tower.
Oh no, they killed all the Warner Brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So the Sudbury Star, though, was reported. They had an interview with Sudbury Star. I don't know. This is just that interview.
It'll make more sense if you say it in a Cockney accent.
The Sudbury Star, Governor.
There we go. Thank you.
Tatiana Maslany says this is about She Hulk. That actually isn't a real thing, and it's like a press release that's gotten out of hand. That actually isn't a real thing. Oh, so I've copied the same thing twice. But she's saying that she's not She Hulk.
That's how these things get out of hand. Somebody copies the same thing twice.
It's so true. But then the director of that show, whose name I can't remember, she retweeted a green heart with like the news when it came out.
Okay.
So I think there's a good chance that this is probably true.
But maybe it broke too early.
Maybe it broke too early.
Yeah.
Which we will talk about for something else that broke too early in a minute.
Oh.
But Michael B. Jordan, according to Hollywood Reporter, has signed on to produce a Static Shock movie.
Oh, that's right.
Says, I'm proud to be part of building a new universe centered around black superheroes. Our community deserves that. Outlier Society is committed to bringing, I think that must be his production company, to bringing to life diverse comic book content across all platforms. We're excited to partner with Reggie and Warner Brothers, or Reggie and Warner Brothers. I knew Reggie when I lived in Tanzania. It's neither here nor there. I just like to talk about how I've traveled. And
I get it.
That is a new thing to this show.
Okay, so I shouldn't be frustrated by it.
No.
Okay,
You actually, you
interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I spent like half a year there, like teaching in Tanzania for free. I just want to point that out.
Wow, it's really noble.
But really, it wasn't. I was paid an experience more than anything
that's
else.
true,
and
yeah.
Rich life advice.
Yeah.
But they were
And
really
blood diamonds as well.
blood
right?
diamonds,
You got some blood
and
diamonds.
the kids were teaching me, and all
Yeah,
that.
how to mine blood diamonds.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go. Static Shock. So cool.
Cool. I like it. And there's a whole bunch of characters in that universe that would be pretty great that I would like to see on screen.
People are like, is Michael B. Jordan probably going to like play Static? I'd imagine not, because he's like a teenage
old,
character.
yeah.
But he could be a Burnout. They could be like, he's a Burnout.
Oh, he's old Static. Okay,
Burnout.
right.
But I don't
right.
think. I think if they're gonna, I don't think it will be. I think they'll aim for like a Spider-Man-esque kind of feel. I'd imagine.
He's a Burnout. He's nothing now. He just sits over there and zaps people through the carpet for a quarter, you know?
Just rub at his feet and
Yeah,
zap
that's
at
right.
people.
Yeah.
Do you have that one classroom at your school that could do that? It's got the
Yeah.
staticky carpet for no reason.
Yeah, I remember
Get someone
that.
on the back of the neck.
Ah, no!
Oh, no, Mason.
He could be, you know what he could be?
He's probably got an uncle, maybe. I can't remember. I don't know anything about.
No, he could be
universe that
Icon,
much.
who is the Milestone Universe's Superman. Because, you know, people are always like, Michael B. Jordan, why isn't he Superman?
Yeah.
And people are like, boo, for some reason, you know?
That's right. Why can't they based off someone from the There is a black Superman. You could do
But
it.
this would be cool. So there's one of the Milestone superheroes is called Icon, and he was like Superman. His spaceship crashed into Earth, but like in America during the time of slavery, and his ship like transformed him into the closest being, like a copy of the closest being who was African.
Yeah.
And so he like experienced slavery and oppression, but he also has like Superman powers, and so now in the
So he develops them as they.
yeah, and so
Yeah.
in the present, he pretends to be his great grandson.
Yes.
So he's the grandson. So he's Augustus Freeman.
So
the
all
third.
that's like very fresh to him, obviously, because he lived through it. Yeah, that's really
right.
interesting.
Yeah. And so and then he meets a young woman and gives her some of his alien technology, and they team up.
And she's like, "Cool, man.
Yeah,
thanks.
this is cool,
This is
man.
actually great."
This is actually great. So I reckon he could be Icon.
Yeah,
That would be-
cool.
that would be good.
I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that character.
Yes.
So Batman's firing on all cylinders. I don't know if you've seen
What does this mean?
the Batman. It's filming.
Oh, it's back.
It's
Okay.
happening.
There's a lot of photos of Robert Pattinson walking around set, and he's got the suit on, but also a robe, like a
Yes.
black bathrobe.
Yeah, it looks good.
Does look good.
Baton robe. There's a pun in that.
Yeah,
People have
definitely.
sent them
Yeah.
our way already. But the interesting thing from this is that there appears to be like a Halloween event,
Oh,
which I guess lends to this maybe being a version of the long Halloween.
Yeah, but one of the costumes is.
Two of the costumes.
Oh, there's a Superman
You've got
costume.
Superman and a Wonder Woman, which means that they exist in this universe, or at the very least, they're comic book characters
Yeah.
in this universe that are just in comics.
Yeah.
I thought this might have been like a closed universe, but
Me too.
I think that's cool.
Yeah.
What does that version of Superman look like in this universe?
Yeah, right.
Is he mean?
Michael B. Jordan.
Could be.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Mason.
Yeah, no.
That's a great idea.
Oh, okay, great. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I mean, it could also be that it's a universe where it could be the situation where like there's a Superman and a Wonder Woman and the public know them.
Yeah.
But Batman is the urban myth kind of situation. You
Yeah,
know, there's
right.
that.
Yep,
So
I like
So
that,
nobody.
yeah.
Oh, but then people would dress up as Batman, wouldn't they?
Yes.
Yeah. But they wouldn't know what he looks like, so they dress up as big bats.
Also, though, but if there was like a lunatic beating up people, or
Yeah, yeah.
for all you know, murdering people,
Yeah.
would people dress up as him every Halloween? As like
Yes.
yeah, but not like in the way that people dress up as Superman. Like
Yeah, right.
you come to a party and people be like, "Come on, man!
Yeah.
What are
No,
you doing?
that's
He's
true,
a
yeah.
lunatic."
Yeah.
Even Bruce Wayne thinks he's a lunatic.
Yeah.
He said it at a dinner party to me.
Oh, yeah, you'd show up you'd be one of those people who shows up at a party as a guy Batman beat up, you know, and people would be like, "That's a bit poor taste." Those people are in the hospital.
Like, no, he beat me up on the way here.
Yeah. I'm a bank robber also. We're at a criminal party of criminals.
For criminals, yeah. So there you go. Cool. That makes that just
What
changes
is
something in the
your
universe.
what is your guess? Do you think they're fictional characters in this universe?
I think they're real.
Okay.
I think Warner Brothers are putting enough stuff in movies, or it won't be addressed, to be like, what do you want to see?
I think it'll be.
I don't think they'll Dark Knight like close the universe.
No, I don't think there'll be any. I don't think also there'll be any overt There won't be any overt decision either way in the movie.
Yeah.
Nobody be like, "Oh, you're dressed as real superheroes, Superman and Wonder Woman."
Yeah.
Because then it's definitive. But they put enough breadcrumbs in there that they could decide that they exist later if they
Exactly.
wanted to. You know.
I think it also might be one of those things that doesn't even make the cut of the film because it's an extra in
Yeah.
the background. Remember there was like the Robin that looked like there was a Robin R in one of the Dark Knight movies that someone was holding up at the football
Oh, yeah,
game. It
that's
might have been
right.
Dark Knight Rises. And
Yeah,
people
yeah.
were like, that's a Robin is in the, and he was, I guess.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But,
yeah, that's true.
Not related to that.
But then in the final cut, they were like, that stands for really good football.
And people are like, oh, boo.
Yeah.
Boo for really good football. So Snoke answers. Finally, we're getting some Snoke answers.
What?
Snoke answers. Snoke, remember? We talked about Snoke. What did you think I said?
I thought you were saying snow cancer.
We're not getting Snoke answers.
I don't want that.
You're not allowed to get it.
Yeah.
It's
what happens when you
illegal.
punch Frosty too hard?
That's
you get
right.
snow cancer.
Yeah, exactly. If you break the surface, there's just all cancer.
And you were
under
like,
there.
finally. And I'm like, I don't want this. Okay, so answers to the question of what's Snoke's deal? What's going
his
on
deal?
there?
So, as far as we knew from Snoke in the movies, he turns up in the Force Awakens and he's like, I'm the boss. And everyone's like, yep, you're a big hologram, so that checks out.
Yeah.
And the second one, he gets cut in half and he's murdered a lot.
Yep.
And then in the third one, he turns up in a Snoke tank. Though there's multiple Snoke tanks. They're like, is this guy a clone? What's the deal with this guy? Is he a puppet for Palpatine? Is he not even like... Is you know what I mean? Is Palpatine just like making him walk and talk?
or is he can he operate independently?
Yeah.
Like has he been built by Palpatine and then he's been given like the urge to do evil?
Yes.
Like is he given him some prime directives?
And yes.
Yeah.
Because apparently, according to a soon-to-be-released Star Wars fact book, is an artificial genetic construct concocted by the resurrected Darth Sidious to be his proxy in power. Snoke has free will, but his actions and goals are still orchestrated by Sidious. So that answers some questions and raises other questions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So free will means that he might not even know that he's not in charge.
Yep.
He might not even be force sensitive. He might be like channeling it through, like he thinks he is, but
Yeah,
Palpatine
right.
is doing.
Oh.
Because you can't clone force sensitive people, or you can because Palpatine is.
Yep.
I don't
but maybe
know.
he's the exception.
They didn't really answer any of the
Doesn't
questions
answer any questions,
in the movie.
but this book did answer some other questions. I'm not
what do we
sure
got?
aware of.
Anakin was born on Tatooine, which apparently he wasn't.
Oh, I
I didn't know that.
I don't have that fact here, but what I do have here is that this is a page on Rey from this book. In George Lucas's original outline, she was a 14-year-old girl named Taryn.
Yep.
In his subsequent iterations, she would briefly be named
Kira.
Thea and also Winky.
Yes.
Winky.
I think that's something from.
Winky.
I think that's something from. That might be from one of the Ewok things.
Okay,
I can't
right.
remember.
Right.
Either movies or the TV show. Ali, stop licking the bloody cushion, mate. You bloody causing quite a ruckus over there.
When writer-director J.J. Abrams came aboard, he simplified the names to placeholders. Kylo Ren was the Jedi killer.
Yes.
Thea became Sally.
Yep.
Finn was called Harry, and the character that would be Poe was John Doe.
Yes, that was an interesting one.
Sally became Kira, then Echo, and finally Rey.
I like Echo.
Echo's good, right?
Yeah.
And
But I
then
think Rey's a good name.
that'd be thematic somehow.
Echoes.
Yeah.
But then when she's in that cave and she's doing the snapping, people are like, that's a bit on the nose because her name
That's
is.
right.
Her name is. Anyway.
Who was that? Was that Sylvester Stallone in the
Yeah,
theater?
that was a bit
That's
on
a
the
bit
nose,
on the
isn't it?
nose.
I was a big fan of this franchise. This is a bit gauche even for me. That's not good, is it?
Very
there's
good. You could be the voice of Rambo in Mortal Kombat 11.
Well, Stallone's doing it, so I can't.
is he?
Yeah,
Was that him?
That's him.
Sounded bad.
Well, he doesn't care.
No, that's true, yeah.
What do you think? Bruce Willis would have done a better job?
Oh, bring in John McClane in Mortal Kombat 11.
You can make him as because there's a cop in one of the Mortal Kombats.
I guess
Isn't
that's
he? He's got
true,
a
yeah.
nightstick.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like a fool. That guy. He's got the worst costume.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Striker.
Striker.
Yeah.
Awful.
But
Dumb backwards
you,
hat.
you bring in John McClane, like you do the coming up with the new combat pack, and then when you actually download it and you get the game, you select a character, he comes into the thing and he's like, I'm leaving. Because it's Die Hard 1 John McClane. And he's like, I can go, so I'm going to.
What's the diehard John McClane that sticks around?
4.
4. I was going to say it's 4 because he's not hungover.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want a John McClane without the widow's peak.
That's why you get 1 and he leaves. Or you get 2 and it's John McClane and he's always in the ejector seat of the plane. So he's flying about. You can
That's
hover.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I saw it was on one of the streaming services. What's his name? John Cusack. It was a poster for a John Cusack Bruce Willis movie, and it's just the worst Photoshop thing. I'm trying to find it
Is it
now.
recent?
Yeah, no, I mean, but it's recent to a thing. It's called The Prince, and everybody in this poster,
Yeah.
well, not so much Bruce Willis, but it's Patrick, Jason Patrick.
Okay.
But if you look at John Cusack and Jason Patrick, it looks like their faces have been photoshopped on the wrong way.
Yeah,
Like they've flipped
them. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they have.
It doesn't fit like
Oh my
at
god,
all.
the bottom left one, is that Jason Patrick?
Yeah, yes.
That's the worst thing I've ever
I
seen.
know.
Yeah, they
It's to match shadows. They've flipped them or something.
Yeah, they've photographed him looking left.
Yeah.
Or looking, left. But they photographed him looking right, and they needed him to be looking left.
Yeah.
And they've just flipped the faces.
Everybody Google the Prince, Bruce Willis, and have a look at the poster.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
That's incredible.
Yeah, well, as we know from like Kevin Smith's stories, Bruce Willis doesn't pose for posters.
Yeah.
And he clearly hasn't here. And neither did the other people. I don't know what this is. Jason Patrick, you were great in Speed 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. He might have been good in Speed 2. I don't
There you go.
know. I know you didn't like Sandra Bullock, though.
The
They didn't
boat
get
was
along.
the star of the show, in my opinion.
Still crashed to that dock.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's our Snoke report for this week.
Nice.
Spider-Man 3 has begun production, Mason.
Oh, my goodness.
Whatever that's going to be called. But that's not the only news Spider-Man 3 related.
Go on.
Fandom Wire
Oh, yeah.
broke the news that off the back of Doctor Strange joining the project in some kind of mentor, multi-dimensional role potentially.
Yes.
Both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire
Tobin himself.
have signed on reprising their roles as various Peter Parkers that they played in Spider-Man. How do you
goodness.
feel about that? That they're jumping into back in.
Blown my mind.
Blowing your mind in a big way.
Yeah.
So they're going to show up at the end to help defeat the many villains that are happening across dimensions,
Okay, wow.
including Electro. Because
Well,
of
that's
course,
spoiled it, hasn't it?
Yes,
It's
yes, it has.
spoiled for everyone, for us.
Yeah,
Viewers, people who are wanting a surprise. Because if they do show up, we'll be like, yeah, we knew the ending years ago. But if they don't show up, we'll be like, oh, what happened to Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield?
I mean, we knew the ending, and you changed it.
You sons of bitches.
Even if
Give
they
us, release the cut we wanted of this.
That's right. So we knew Electro was involved. Jamie Foxx has confirmed that, and people were like, "Why would Electro be in that version of Electro be in this?"
Yes.
But off the back of this, I want to talk about whether or not you think it's a good idea. But there's more news related to this. A representative from Sony said those rumored castings are not confirmed, which to me says this is probably happening.
Yeah.
Because they would have just said, "No, we're not doing that." But this, it seems like they must have locked it in, right? Or at the very least, they're close to.
I think so, yeah.
Because otherwise, you just wouldn't say anything, or you'd say no.
Yeah.
Here's another thing, though.
Go on.
Grace Randolph has reported as well
Oh.
that she's hearing that Tobey Maguire, real name, doesn't want more money for the role. He wants more screen time
It's
out
more
of the
vegan nuggets.
more vegan nuggets. He wants more screen time out of the suit so he can really act in the film instead of like swinging about,
Yeah,
right? And one of the ideas is to have all the Spider-Men swing into Times Square at the end.
Okay.
So there
Crash
you go.
into each other.
That's right.
Just 3 wrecking balls of meat whacking into each other.
Who's the strongest? We'll find out.
They all just tumble into the middle of the street and people just start screaming.
So here's my concern with this.
They time cop it. They also just sort of meld together
Oh,
into
like
just
a big
monstrous
gross
ball of flesh.
wiggly thing. Yeah.
But it's shooting webs out,
screaming.
screaming.
It's got 4 mouths for some reason.
Because people really like the scene at the end of Far From Home where Spidey swings MJ around and she's like, this was stressful and I hated it.
Yeah.
Except they're like, let's make everybody feel that forever.
all the time, yeah. Absolutely. They really did that. They swung him for a lot of that. That's a real swing. You get that sense in the movie. I watched it recently.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with this potentially.
Go on.
If you're making a Spider-Verse movie, 2 concerns.
Oh,
Maybe you...
that was quick.
Thank you.
Someone had a second concern very quickly.
Maybe you want to build the whole movie around the 3 of them being together and not a final act reveal.
Yeah.
If we're doing this,
Yeah.
let's do it properly. You know what I mean? Let's have them interact for the entirety
Well,
of
at
the
the
movie.
very least, I think you need to have some clues built into the rest. Like if they show up at the end, that would be a fan service thrill for people. But it'd also be like,
Is this just Portals, like the Portals thing from Endgame?
if you don't know,
but worse.
if you were too young to remember the previous Spider-Man movies, you'd be like, what is this? Or like, and it wouldn't work narratively. You'd be like, some more Spider-Man show up.
That's
Well,
right.
can more Spider-Man show up at the end of the next one? Is going to be 5
No,
Spider-Man?
Mason.
Oh, okay, right.
Well, that's my other concern.
Yeah.
Is because I feel like
What's Japanese Spider-Man? He's got a big robot.
that would be rad.
Yeah, right.
But I feel like if you're doing into the
Italian Spider-Man.
he's not real, but he's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not real, but he's real. He's
Is he not real?
Well, it's not a real thing. It's like a parody that
Oh, it
someone
was too,
made.
wasn't it? Yeah. But he
it's-
shows up.
Yeah, but he shows up.
Italian porn Spider-Man. He probably exists.
He definitely exists. I think they hinted at the Italian Spider-Man, who's got a shotgun, by the way, might turn up in the next Spider-Verse movie.
Good.
The animated one.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like with the X-Men Apocalypse problem, right? So apparently when Matthew Vaughn was on board with the X-Men movies,
Yes.
he wanted to do First Class, then do something in the middle, and then do Days of Future Past.
And team them all together. And it would make sense because they've met before,
That's
I guess.
right.
Yeah.
Because then if you go First Class, Days of Future Past, where you bring back everybody, you get that big hit and everybody comes on board because it's all the X-Men that you love from across the generations coming back together. But then after that, you go Apocalypse and it's the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
So
yeah.
if you do this, what do you do next?
Yeah.
Or you have to tell a completely different kind of story because you can't match the scale of something like this. So then you'd have to do like the Venom suit, Kraven the Hunter, Sinister Six. But also it seems like this could be the Sinister Six.
Might be.
Yeah. I think my concern with this would be, is this a lot to put into it and you can't pull back necessarily.
I mean, you can. You could just be like,
you can,
yeah.
but-
I guess you can't go, well, the dimensional gates are closing because that would ruin the concept of the multiverse they just invented.
Yes, that's
but
right.
I guess, I don't know. You could lock those dimensions away, I guess, somehow.
Yeah,
You know?
but my point is though, I'm saying you could narratively, you could write it closed so it doesn't happen again. But the next story isn't as fun, is it? Because people are like, well, Tobey Maguire, where's he?
Right,
You know, do you see what I'm saying?
What you
though?
could do, though, is make the other two Spider-Men fundamentally unlikable. And so when they leave, the fans are like, oh, thank God.
Boo.
Thank God Tobey Maguire's gone.
Boo, actually.
Yeah, boo, actually.
Sequel to Love, actually.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think that's a valid concern?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Sony have made mistakes with Spider-Man before. We know
remember.
that. That being said, they've clearly got a way better grasp on it now.
Than we do.
Then yeah, definitely. But you know, being folded into the MCU, it works way better. I guess the next play after this would be Venom, right?
Oh, and they have to build a convincing reason for Venom to hate Spider-Man utterly.
Something about photos.
Yeah, photos.
He took too many photos,
Took too
all
many
the wrong
photos.
photos.
Yeah.
Plagiarized photos.
Yeah.
Photos, yeah, great stuff. So I don't know. That being said, great. Like I've wanted to see this and I will see it. I've also still like to see a Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, but definitely not an Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Wow.
Even though I like Andrew Garfield, but no thank you very much. Maybe that's just me. The other thing is, because it's filming so soon, we might be getting a teaser or a first look in December.
Oh.
So there you go.
I hope it's just the last scene. It's just three Spider-Men laying a punch in the big bad guy. And they're like, we did it.
We did it, and we're only in this scene. And you've seen it already. You've seen it.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was released? They released something like 67 minutes
Yeah, I
of
remember,
footage or whatever beforehand. Again, lessons alert, whatever. I know, that's just some concerns of mine that are probably unfounded. People will come back and
Or
say...
very founded. We're rarely wrong in this instance.
We've never been
Whenever
wrong.
we're cynical, we're usually right.
That's true, yeah. Anyway, next bit of news, Mason. Dex...
Wait. Oh, I've got one bit of news.
Okay.
We maybe save your bit of news.
Save
It's a segue for something later, maybe.
Love
So I have
segues.
one bit of news that I just wanted to put in. Normally, this would go into our other podcast. One of our other podcasts, we got this covered where we talk about clickbait articles. But
This week,
one-
though, we did a book club.
That's
Is
true,
that
we
what-
did,
is that what
yeah.
you're talking about?
No.
Oh, this isn't the news that we did. There's a new episode up,
this
and
is-
it's about
this is- no.
Infinite Crisis. So
Well,
you
we
can-
do have that.
It's right now on
Crisis
BigSandwich.co.
on
Whatever it
Infinite
is. Yeah,
Earths.
who
Yeah,
cares?
yeah.
It's shit. Anyway, keep going. Sorry, go on.
One of us liked it and one of us did not
Yeah.
like it. This would normally go into the podcast where we talk about clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
But this article gets straight to the point and it's exactly what it says on the tin, so I like it.
Okay.
It's about the movie No Time to Die, which of course is, filmed. It's in the can, as it were. But speaking of cans, Daily Mail reports how 8,400 gallons of Coke kept 007 on his motorbike in No Time to Die.
What?
See this? Did you hear about this?
No.
Okay. Everyone knows how partial James Bond is to a vodka martini shaken but not stirred. However, the making of the latest 007 film involved vast quantities of a rather different drink, Coca-Cola. The producers of No Time to Die paid £55,000 for 8,400 gallons of Coke to make cobbled streets at one filming location
sticky.
less slippery for a motorcycle stunt.
Whoa, okay.
Crew members spent hours splashing it around Matera in southern Italy ahead of a spectacular bike jump over a 60-foot wall. But my favourite part of this...
They wreck the bricks, where people are like, you wreck the bricks.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
No.
Oh, they didn't wreck the bricks.
They were like, we love what you've done here with the Coca-Cola.
You didn't wreck the bricks.
The official drink of Italy, Coca-Cola. It ends in vowels.
Yeah.
What I like about here, it says, for the spectacle, stunt rider Paul Edwards had to hit a 25-foot ramp at 60 miles per hour to clear the wall and land on the cobbles. Stunt boss Lee Morrison said star Daniel Craig had come up with the idea and told him about it in a late-night phone call, adding, I spent nearly 60,000 euros spraying Coca-Cola around Matera. I've been spraying Coca-Cola on slippery surfaces for a very long time.
What?
I don't know.
Daniel Craig said that.
It's a little bit confusing, but I think the stunt boss said
They're
that.
saying that he went and did that.
Or maybe he's not. Because Daniel Craig, no, because it says Daniel Craig had come up with the idea and told him about it in a late night phone call.
Yeah, that part is separate though, isn't it? From the next part.
No, but I mean, because that would suggest that Daniel Craig told him about it and then the stunt boss was like, yeah, I know. I've been doing it for years.
I thought he's saying that off the back of Daniel Craig doing that, telling him that was his solution to get it into the movie.
Oh. I don't know. I'm confused, but I love this.
What website
I love
is
the
this?
idea that Daniel Craig is some sort of insane late
That's
night
how
ideas man.
he spends his holidays though.
Yeah, they're like, okay, Daniel, you've done a great job on this scene, very intense. Like, take the next day off or whatever. You know, just regather your strength. Remember, we got those scenes tomorrow, and then he's just awake all night, just being like, but hell, the stuntmen are gonna slip on the cobblestones. What am I gonna do?
What I love about this as well.
And he's got the whiteboard. He's got the bits of red string, and he's like, I'm so tired though. I better get some caffeine from this Coca-Cola.
What I love about that is also, like, we all have flights of fancy in the middle of the night that we write down. And then we wake up and we go, terrible, actually.
Yeah.
I messaged Matt in the middle of the night the other day because I had an idea for a supercut. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to message him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, this doesn't make sense. It's like 3 a.m, but if I don't say this to you, I'm going to forget.
Yeah.
I won't say it. I won't spoil it, basically.
Oh, yeah, nice.
But most people are like, these ideas don't go anywhere or mean anything. But but this one...
Daniel Craig wakes up and he just looks at a note on his phone. It says Coca-Cola cobblestones, and he's like, I don't know. I don't know about this. Anyway, he told Total Film magazine that the drink also makes things look very clean after it washes off.
Well, they use it as an industrial cleaning agent in some places. Isn't that a rumor?
Yeah, but anyway, I just thought that article was very, very good and fun.
I agree.
And good on Daniel Craig for doing that. He'll never pay for a Coca-Cola in his life.
No, he should,
after this.
Or drink one.
No, he'll never drink one. No, that's true. But also it says here that unusually Bond will not appear in the cold open, the action sequence that traditionally precedes the title credits.
Is it going to be the new 007 maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I think might be, yeah.
Maybe they'll just play the start of GoldenEye and be like, we've made good ones too.
That's right.
If you recall.
Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, what a good
That's
on
fun.
him. Yeah.
That's fun, Mason.
It is fun.
It's an ad time. It's just me. Mason has left the room to fire up his ExpressVPN because guess what? He's taken a break during this show, if you can believe it, to watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix. Because this documentary, tech insiders explain how social media is engineered to exploit users' data for profit. Horrifying. And that's what this is all about. Because when this happens, tech billionaires get even richer. And that's why it's good to add that extra layer of protection with ExpressVPN. Because every time you use the internet, as mentioned, big tech companies mine your data. They track your searches, messages, video history. But if you run ExpressVPN on your device, it hides your IP address, which websites use to personally identify you. And that means your activity is difficult to trace and sell to advertisers. Of course, you still need to be careful with what you share on social media posts, but ExpressVPN can make your web browsing more anonymous, and it 100% encrypts your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and prying eyes. Also, many VPNs, and I'm sure you've experienced this, they slow down your internet, but not ExpressVPN. It's incredibly fast and easy to use, and only one tap of the button is required. You are protected. So if you don't like the idea of tech companies exploiting your personal information, just visit expressvpn.com/weeklyplanet right now, and you can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/weeklyplanet to protect your data. Go to expressvpn.com/weeklyplanet to learn more. On with the show, I reckon. Last bit of news, Dexter is back.
That's right.
This is going to tie into our topic for this week, which we will talk about, but it's getting a 10-episode limited run.
Okay.
And so, yeah, this was always going to happen.
Was it?
Yeah, I remember at the time. I don't know whether I mentioned on the show, but yes, it was very much open-ended.
Oh, yeah, right.
The original idea was, you know what, we'll do the segment. We'll talk about the segment.
Let's talk about the segment. But okay, but this, I saw a lot of comments around this idea that were like, Are they going to ignore the last couple of seasons? A lot of people are like, they should definitely do that.
I think there's a way to do it to make it in continuity.
Okay.
So what we're going to talk about this week is TV shows that didn't necessarily stick the landing.
That's right.
Some of these I've got on this list are like, this is okay to me.
Yeah, right.
Some of them because I haven't watched them. And
Some
I
of
don't
these
care.
we watched and were total crap, and we 100% agree. Some of them just sounded funny, and we're going to read them
Yes.
verbatim and be like, that sounds dumb.
That sounds dumb. TV's dumb, isn't it?
We found one list, just FYI. It's a BuzzFeed list, and it's like, it's the worst TV endings ever. And I'm like, well, maybe this will jog the old memory. I've seen a lot of TV finales, and they don't explain what the endings are.
Not
it's
at
just
all.
like this person going, this ending was crazy.
Yeah, they just copy tweets. But that's BuzzFeed for you,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it?
Uh-huh.
Or it's just like, it's just a meme. Like they'll post a meme or a GIF.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
someone going, oh, seriously? Or whatever memes are these days. I don't know.
Okay.
So let's start with Dexter, though, because if you remember the end of Dexter.
I don't. Here's the thing, but I do. I obviously do. But I didn't.
Do you or did you not,
I
Mason?
cut out of Dexter early. I cut out of Dexter like season 3, I think. Some told me.
Good idea.
Some little
the
birdie
right
told
thing.
me. Little dark passenger in my head
Ooh.
that tells me when TV shows
There's
are bad.
some-
That's the skill it has.
Was that the end of the John Lithgow season?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, because there's like a Jimmy Smith season. And there's
Yeah,
some
yeah.
gooder bits in it. But then he falls in love with his sister or vice versa or something. I
Yeah,
don't know, but
right,
they're married
right,
in
right.
real life. And I don't know. But
then
they're
they
not
divorced in real life,
divorced in real
right?
life, but they still
Yeah.
work together. That's
Yeah.
fine, I think.
But if I recall from people going, oh my God, the ending, and I'm like, whew, dodge that bullet. Most of the main characters have died, or like the
a bulk.
the
His
bulk-
sister dies.
Yeah.
He drops her off in a boat in a thunderstorm.
and there's a baby, right? And it's his
He's
baby.
got a kid who's like
Yeah.
3 or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and he gives her to another serial killer to raise because he's like, I can't be raising kids because my son is going to grow up like me, Dexter. Dexter.
And knowing that, and knowing that I could change that, instead I'll give my baby to this serial killer who has no morals.
Yes, that's right.
Presumably, right?
And I'm presumed dead in a storm
Yep.
because maybe everybody knows who I am at this point. Yes, I think, but I'm a lumberjack and I live in the woods.
That's right.
But so there's a way you could do it where he could throw away line. I'm back from the woods.
Okay,
and
sure.
I've been back for 4 years now.
Uh-huh.
And it would.
I've got a photo of him here with his,
with the
woodsman
beard. Yeah,
beard
that's
on.
right.
Yep,
Yeah,
okay.
it zooms in on him.
Is that a
or
real
whatever.
beard or a
No,
stuck-on beard?
It looks like a stick-on beard.
Okay.
But he's good.
Yeah, I
He's a
know.
good Dexter.
Yeah,
I remember you got me on it because you're like, it's Batman, but he's a serial killer. I'm
Yeah.
like, great.
The concept was at the time was just like
Revolutionary.
It was revolutionary, and it looked like it was a great looking show. It
Yeah.
had a great setting in Miami, and like you remember the intro.
Great
was-
shirts.
Great shirts, great like
Surprise, motherfucker. There's that
Dokes.
bit.
Dokes, that's right. Yeah, great Huayabera shirts, great
Yeah.
Miami fashion.
Beautiful
and like
hats.
like a real visceral opening sequence. You know
Yeah.
the title sequence.
Cutting
never
the
skip.
fruit and
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
And what I guess is good as opposed to like a lot of shows. So I feel like a lot of these now exist anyways.
James Remar, the
James-
guy
yeah,
from
that's
Sex
right.
and the
Sex
City.
and the City or whatever.
Couldn't get a boner or whatever.
Couldn't get a boner or whatever.
But now
He's dad.
now he's the dad.
Maybe he'll show up as a ghost or a flashback and he's like, Dexter, you shouldn't be killing people this way. And he's like, fuck off, Dad. I'm a murderer.
But then at
You
the end
did
of the
this.
episode, he's like, actually, you were right, Dad. Anyway, let's put this murder slide away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, anyway, all good stuff, but you're right.
Yeah, it really bottomed out hard. But again, it's salvageable. I think
Yeah.
we should also determine whether or not you could bring these back.
Yeah,
And
but
this one I
what
think
I'm
you
saying
could.
is how, in what capacity, you well, definitively a bad ending is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think, well, the problem is as well because what I think the showrunner wanted to do, and also Michael C. Hall, was that the entirety of the show was somewhat of a flashback.
Okay.
And he's sitting about to get a lethal injection.
And
he
he's
looks out-
explaining how he met their mother.
Yes. But
We'll get to that.
We definitely will. But he looks out to the audience, and it's all the people that he's killed over the
Oh,
years.
yeah, right.
And it's kind of a great ending. And then, but of course, they already knew at that point that this is something that we do want to revive.
Yeah, right, okay.
Which is now what's happening.
But what do you think they're going to do to bring it back? Like what? He can't just. I mean, he can just be like, I'm back.
I think they're going to keep it continuity. I think they're
Right.
going to start him in the woods, and he has to come back for more killing.
Okay.
For whatever reason, and he ends up framing somebody else. I don't know. It's 10 episodes. You can do. A lot
Oh, do you
with
think
it.
he'll be like the person who everybody you thought I did all these murders, but actually
It was.
I just did some of
It
them.
was any of the other killers that are in this
Yeah.
show. Miami is a hotspot for
in
serial
the book
killers.
series, and I don't remember if it got changed back, but if I recall, in the books, it was revealed in one of the later ones that the dark passenger in his head was the devil. like an actual the devil. But I'd have to look into that. But if I
No, he was found in like a shipping container filled with his mum's blood or something.
No, that happened too,
that
but
was
also
it.
the
Okay,
devil.
Yeah. Also the devil.
Yeah.
Because I also get the sense in the show, it's not really a dark passenger. It's just him. Like it's
Yeah.
all him. Because he's
Yeah.
not really, he's talking to the audience. He's not talking to the
No,
subconscious.
That was more.
I guess.
I've read the first book.
Okay.
Because when the series came out, I'm like, ooh,
Books, you
this will
said.
never be bad. I'll get into the books
When did
as
this
well.
start? I'm
And
gonna look it
there
up.
is more. It's more of like I'm having a conversation with somebody else kind of
Yeah,
thing. you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
When did it start? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's got mostly good reviews. I started in 2006. Oh, wow. And I went to 2013. Yeah, we might have talked about this because that's just when we started doing this show.
Yeah.
Anyway, 10 episode limited run. I'd be interested to see it, to be honest. And why not? But again, maybe you do wipe the continuity because a lot of the people in it are dead.
Yeah.
What other shows, Mason?
How about this one?
I love shows.
I've got a question for you. Do you remember the TV series Life on Mars?
Which one? But yes.
Well, that's the thing. Do you remember did you watch the British version?
I did, and I might not have finished it because it went to a different time period or
Oh,
something.
there you go. Right. And you can't understand how clocks work. And you had a bedtime, obviously.
Didn't it jump a decade or something?
The second series did. There was a second.
And it was a different Bowie album?
Yeah, it was
name?
Ashes to Ashes.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. So for people who don't remember it, which includes you, it was about a police detective in London in the modern day named Sam Tyler, who was played by John Sim, who later became the Master. And he gets hit by a car, and then when he wakes up, he's still a police detective in London, but it's the 70s.
Yes.
And he's got a life in the 70s, and he's like, what's going on? And so, like, it's sort of the episodes are like a police procedural where his modern police methods sort of, they clash with the other cops, including this guy, Gene Hunt, who's like he's
a hard-nosed detective.
Yeah, he's like a police chief, and Sam is like, we should do psychology, and Sam and Gene Hunt's like, no, let's crack everybody's
We
heads
should
together.
keep this semen until there's semen detecting kits. And he's like, we're not keeping semen, actually.
That's right. We're gonna
freak.
Yeah, we're gonna bash people until they admit they done a crime, which is how this works. But like the larger story is, okay, well, the mystery of the whole series was, okay, is he a modern day detective and he's in a coma and he's
Because there's
imagining
hints towards it. Because you hear hospital noises.
You hear hospital noises and you hear voices and you're like, okay, well, is he in a coma and he's imagining the 70s? Is he actually a cop from the 70s and he's having a mental breakdown and he's imagined the future?
Perfectly.
Yeah. Well, or has he actually traveled back through time?
Yeah.
And it was kind of the ending to that was kind of ambiguous.
Yes.
And he sort of he re-arrives in the modern day world, but nothing seems quite right, kind of thing. And the last scene is him like leaping off a roof because it's like, does he want to go back through time or does he want to die because something's wrong, kind of thing. So
but the sequel series though. Because
we'll
it's a different cop goes through time.
Yeah,
but do you want to talk about the American
Well,
version
here's the thing. I
first?
want to talk about the American version.
Yeah.
The American version's the same-ish. The Gene Hunt character is played by
the guy from The Invisible Man. No.
Harvey Keitel.
Yes.
Gene
I
Hunt
meant the lead cop. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And the premise is almost identical, except the ending is different. Because I guess they were like, well, if you've seen the British version, you don't want to be... And also, I think they were probably like, well, the American version doesn't want an ambiguous ending. It wants a definitive ending. So the definitive ending for this was...
And I think they rushed it as well. I think it was getting cancelled.
The definitive ending for the American version was the main guy, Sam, I think he's still Sam in the American version, wakes up and he's on a spaceship on the way to Mars.
Life on Mars, I get it.
Because he and all the other characters in the 70s are all astronauts and they're in cryosleep. And they're in a sort of shared virtual reality universe, but it's malfunctioned. Instead of just being like, hey, we're chilling out, it's like the 70s and crime and
his dad's his boss.
Yeah, exactly, the whole deal kind of thing. And people at the time were like, well, that's really dumb. This sucks.
And when he steps onto Mars, he's wearing a 70s shoe.
Yes.
So it's also like, is this some
that's
fuckery
right.
as well?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And people are like, this is dumb. It should be more sensible and be more arty and ambiguous like the British version because the British versions are always better. But there was a sequel series to the British version. It was called Ashes to Ashes.
Yes.
And there's another detective, a lady detective, who's reading over all the case notes of Sam Tyler, like when he woke up. He sort of like, he did lots of interviews about what happened to him before he jumped off the roof. And so she knows all the characters that he talked about, that he remembers from the 70s. And then she gets shot by a hostage taker, and then when she wakes up, it's the 80s. But like Gene Hunt and some of the other characters are still around. And then she has to figure out, okay, well, am I in a coma and I'm imagining this because I read all the reports? Or again, have I traveled back through time? But the ending to that one reveals that they're all in limbo. They're all dead cops who live in limbo. And they're like, we're the restless dead because we didn't finish all our cop duty.
And he knows, like the boss knows, doesn't he? He's
does,
like, it's my job to funnel people into
the
hell
limbo for some reason,
I did know
Which is just as stupid as the American version, but just for a different reason. So I'm giving the American version a pass. I think they're both fine.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, but I did just find a headline as well from April of 2020. Life on Mars creator confirms third and final season in the works.
Hello.
Hello, indeed.
Hello. A cop's gonna hit their head and end up in the
90s. It's the 90s. It'll be the 90s.
Oh yeah, but the 90s. But they're in the cast of the
Hello.
The British naughty World War II sitcom.
Look, I'd love to talk about it, but it ended exactly as it started.
Oh my God.
Like shit, probably.
But naughty.
But naughty.
Very naughty.
Yeah.
Anyway, it'll be the 90s.
I forgot how dumb that was.
What Bowie songs came in the 90s? I can't remember. Oh, it'll be the one that he does. It'll be called I'm Afraid of Americans. It'll be the one he did with Trent Reznor.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
okay,
right?
there you go.
Yeah.
I'm afraid. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. And they bring back the previous cast because they would, wouldn't they?
Because of time travel and limbo. They all live in limbo.
But it's also not limbo anymore. They'll just be like, it's not limbo anymore.
Yeah, it's time.
Because I think
portal,
if you build the third season and like, we got to solve crimes, you'd be like, it's fucking limbo, who cares?
Yeah. And also, well, that's the thing. Like, what
Gives a shit.
They didn't really do anything in limbo. It wasn't like, but then we're all going to escape into the real world or what? They're not.
Yeah.
They're just in limbo.
Does that mean that guy came out of the coma and was alive and then killed himself again?
Yeah.
What an idiot. Not a good system is what I'm saying.
That's a bad system, right?
Because if...
Gene should have been like, FYI, you're in limbo.
But you'll be out of it.
Yeah.
Don't throw yourself off.
Don't throw yourself off a roof.
Because you don't get to come back. You're
Unless
just dead.
that was also a hallucination. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I guess. They'll explain it in season 3.
Anyway, I'd watch another season of that.
Yeah, why not? I didn't watch the second.
Yeah.
So, Sopranos.
Oh, yeah.
Full disclosure, I haven't watched all of The Sopranos, but I do
every
know the
episode
ending.
of The Sopranos.
Well, I do know the ending, and that's kind of why I haven't.
Yeah.
I kind of like it, though, the ambiguity of it, because nothing happens.
Yeah.
And it's just, so if you don't know, spoilers for all of this, obviously.
Well, yeah. Nothing happens or does it is the question,
Yes.
because it ends with this Journey song "Don't Stop Believin'" is playing. And it's just the various characters getting ready for there's going to be a big old family dinner at the restaurant, and then like a door opens and then cut to black, and you're like, okay, well, what happened? Did an old enemy of Tony come back and shoot him?
Was it Robert Patrick who owned the sporting goods store?
Oh, it might have been Robert Patrick who owned the sporting goods store. It might have been that Russian that got shot in the snow, and then they tried to track him down in the snow. And he never came back.
Oh,
like
and they found him and they shot him again.
Shot him again.
They made sure of it.
That's right. Yeah. Maybe he's in mafia limbo.
God.
You know?
Oh, forget about it.
People were so upset.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean,
I think that would play better now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, as I understand it, like that was the showrunners. It wasn't like they ran out of money or anything like that. It was just like this is how we want this to go, and it's kind of like and it's like, well, what did you want? It's about a broken man who's had a horrible childhood and a horrible life, and he's worked his way up in a horrible business,
and he sucks,
and he's a broken, and he's psychologically, and he's trying to fix that, and but he's still in the mob, and is that going to end in a shootout necessarily?
Exactly. If you loved the movies, Analyze This and Analyze That, this is an extension of that. You're going to love it.
That's right.
You know, mob bosses, but they're in therapy or whatever.
I think, you know what, I think that's initially why I didn't get, it was been going for a couple of seasons before I started watching it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because I'm like, is this just a serious version of Analyze This?
Well, which came first?
I think Analyze This came first.
You might be right.
I think
Let me check. I don't think you might be wrong, actually.
Well, then how did I?
Because they both probably were out by the time.
Right, yeah, maybe.
Analyze This was 1999.
Go on.
The Sopranos started in, wait for it.
Okay, I'm ready.
1999.
Oh.
Parallel thinking.
Wow.
Jesus. Gotta watch
somebody
it.
out there being like, two people out there being like, I mean, it would be cool to be in the mafia, but a bit rough on the old brain pan, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
Speaking of, here's the poster for Analyze This.
Yeah.
That's some classic De Niro mugging it up, mate.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Never seen it.
I had a troll on my Instagram page the other day.
Oh, I love trolls.
Just being like, oh, you suck about whatever.
Cool.
And so I'm like, and I clicked on their page to see what their deal was.
Yeah.
And they follow me, first of all. Like they followed me and then they made a mean comment. And I wanted to be like, and I just blocked them, but I wanted to be like, you don't have to follow me to say the mean. You can just say the mean comment. But he followed, and guy or girl, but it's a guy. He followed 3 people, and I'm like, oh well, it's going to be you and me and like the Weekly Planet, Instagram. But it was me, some rando, and Michael Imperioli from The Sopranos. And I'm like, and I wanted to go onto Michael Imperioli's page and be like, has he said a mean thing?
Is he just doing mean stuff?
Is he following people and then saying mean stuff to them? I don't know. Maybe, but it's good to be in that. It's good to be in that.
Must feel nice.
Yeah,
does that mean he can't see what you post?
Yeah, I've blocked him.
Is that how it works with Instagram?
If you block somebody on Instagram, it deletes all their comments that they've put on anything.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
Yeah, I know. And then they can't find you, I guess, or they can find your page, but you can't. They can't.
But they could go to it like without following you and
I think so. Yeah.
There. Cool.
Yeah.
What a loser. Mason.
Yes.
Sopranos, good on it, I guess. How I Met Your Mother. Let's talk about it.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
So
that one crushed people.
A mostly good show, I think. It had some,
I think it was. Yeah.
It's also like a lot of these you got to look at them from the perspective of the time they came out. And it's like it's a bit probo and whatever.
Yeah, but I think this one maybe less so. But it was also like quite innovative in terms of flashbacks and flash forwards.
Yep.
And all the cast were great. Yep. A lot of people are like, I don't like the Josh Radnor as the straight man, but I thought it was fine. He's a pretty solid.
You need a
straight
Ross.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So they had this. I think the problem with this is they set up the ending from the start.
They did, yeah.
And then they deviated wildly during it.
Yeah, so
to great effect.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen How I Met Your Mother, it's the framing story is that it's a man explaining to his 2 teenage children, Bob Saget. They're both
the voice of.
Yes. How he met their mother. And so I guess right at the start, they filmed a bunch of like framing video of the teenagers.
Because they don't
were like,
age.
Yeah, because they were like, well, we don't want at the end of... the initial plan, I think, was for it to go to like 3 seasons. Yeah. And they were like, well, we don't want to be filming stuff 3 years later and the kids have aged 3 years in the telling of this story.
Yes.
That would be weird. So they filmed the ending of like the kids... Specifically, in the first episode of the show, the main character meets a woman and sort of falls in love, and they have a whirlwind romance, and then maybe it doesn't. Is it going to work out or not work out? And at the end, Bob Saget says, "And that's how we met. Your Aunt Robin." And the kids are like, "Oh, boo! This story's still it's going too long," kind of thing, right? And at the end of the series, the premise was going to be that the actual mother that he meets dies, and then. The kids are like, but what about Aunt Robin?
You should marry. You've always loved
her, and then he goes and he meets Aunt Robin. The problem is that the series became wildly popular.
Yeah,
and so what happened was most of the characters evolved beyond that scope.
And Robin ended up with
Barney, who was played by Neil Patrick Harris. Who started out as like this one-note Lothario, like gross kind of guy, and then. Feelings, and he evolved and he became a better character. And so at the end, they were like, "Well, they're together."
Yeah, because neither of them want kids.
Yeah,
and then they've realized that they've got more in common than not.
Exactly right.
But then they had to force them to break up.
Because they were like, they had to make a choice: do we not keep up this framing story and use this video we already have, or should we just kind of like? Do a new thing. And they were like, well, we've committed to this. And the show is very successful.
But the problem also with that is that they also in the final season, which by the way is set over like a weekend, which I also didn't like.
The weekend of the wedding.
Because they weren't supposed to make that season in particular.
Yeah, right.
I think they had to pay everybody a lot of money. It went for like 9 years.
It did, yeah.
So Kristen Milotti came in as the mother, and somehow, despite all the hype, she lived up to the type of person that would, because it's like, who is this woman? How could she be so great that is this worth it?
This 9 years of storytelling, and my dad telling this boring story.
And she was great, and you believed it, and they fell in love.
She's great in Palm Springs as well.
That's right, exactly. And then she gets cancer and dies, and then he steals the blue trumpet or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, right. French horn.
Yeah, and so they were basically...
And so it felt cheap, like, why did you even bring in this amazing character?
Yeah, exactly. And then they were like, okay, well, he has to... We've decided that he has to go after Aunt Robin, and so they were like, well, let's just say Barney's a jerk again and he cheats on her and they get divorced.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I thought that ran its course or something.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't remember really either. Anyway, I remember being like, oh, boo.
Yeah, but also I would have
But
thought
also, whatever.
a funny joke would have been to just get the kids back and they're 9 years older and just be like, this was a really long story you told. It's
Yeah.
so long and I hate it.
We're
you know?
all 30.
Yeah, yeah.
You, us.
Right?
We're all 30.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go.
Or just redub it. Just
redub it,
Just
yep.
turn the camera around and
Yeah.
it's Josh Radnor or whatever, and
And
he's
they're like,
telling the
"Actually,
and they have
Dad,
the kids from the back. Or
Didn't
whatever.
Mum not die? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
she didn't
Yeah,
die.
she's more powerful than ever. She's destroying the city.
They look outside,
She's
she's-
100 feet tall.
Shooting lightning.
I've got to go and fight her. Samurai powers, go! And he's got a big he's got a robot samurai suit and he's got a katana shooting lasers.
That would have been way better.
Right?
I feel like Scrubs did a similar thing where
Yeah.
it wrapped up. I think Scrubs dipped wildly in quality.
Oh, yeah.
After like season 5.
I
But
think that last interns season is actually not bad. But
I'm
anyway.
okay with it.
Yeah.
I actually didn't finish it, but the season before that, like the final in the
Oh, that
hospital
sucked.
season.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
Oh, which one? I can't remember.
I think it's 8 or 9.
There's a dip. One, it's 7 or 8 is a
Yeah,
is a
but I'm
massive
telling you,
drop.
like the last one
Yeah, right.
is good, and it kind of gets Elliot and JD
JD.
back in a way that together that works. There's that
Yeah.
really beautiful finale where he's watching the projector of how he wants his life to be.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like maybe this fantasy could come true, and
Oh yeah, that season
Hooch
was
comes
good.
back, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's good. I think it's great.
Yeah, the season before that, they'd run out of steam in a way, and I think it was
There's
just
a
like,
Rent Fair one where they go into a weird fantasy.
Yeah, and there was
world.
It was the sort of episode. It was the sort of season where everything gets so self-referential,
Yeah.
but not in a good way. So I'd be like, "You're the wacky character." Like people would be saying, "Like
Yeah.
you're the wacky character, and you're the
Aren't you
serious."
the
ca-"
mean janitor? And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
well, this week I'm learning a lesson or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah, but mostly a good show.
Yeah.
I didn't finish Interns, so I don't care. Also, I never saw that as the final season. I always saw that as like
Oh, a new thing.
a
yeah.
new thing, but
Yeah, I
I,
guess
don't
so.
know. So my point is, I don't care.
Nice.
Remember when Dan died at the end of Roseanne? Probably.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was
So
all
do you
a
wanna-
dream.
Do you want to explain this one?
Okay, so if I remember correctly,
You don't know. I can do it if you want. You don't have to.
the last season is they win the lottery and
Yeah.
everything's great.
Yeah.
But then at the end,
It took away also the
the financial woes of
Yeah.
because the whole thing was that they were a working class
They
family.
weren't like a fun Family Matters kind of home. They were like real problems and shit.
Yeah.
We're all in flannel.
That's
yeah.
exactly right. Just wall to wall flannel.
And Dan
with his
just
family.
looks like he's going to have a heart attack at
and
any
he,
point.
and he does. It turns out he dies, and that's the big reveal at the end, and that the entire prior season where they'd won was just Roseanne imagining what life would have been like if.
And she was a successful writer, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Or writing a book? I didn't really watch it. But here's the twist.
Yes.
They brought it back writing out that season because they're like, Dan, didn't you die? And he's like, actually, I didn't die or whatever.
That's right.
Recently.
I got brought back to get by the power of writing and books.
And then Roseanne in real life got cancelled.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
then she died and they wrote her
Yeah,
out.
nice.
So the show, and maybe it's going now, is Roseanne-less.
Yeah, it's called the
It's called Dan and his kids.
No, it's called
His heart's
whatever.
fine.
It's called whatever their family name is.
The Stevens?
No, it's the Roseanne. No, that's her real name.
That's her real name.
Roseanne, the
Connor.
Connors.
Connors,
There we go.
yeah.
The Connorsons.
Let's check if it's still going. Here we go. Yeah, American sitcom, blah, 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 blah.
Nice.
I know people apparently don't like the new season without Roseanne, but maybe it might be good also.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So it did have a season. It does have another season coming up,
Yep.
apparently.
Uh-huh.
So they've got some in the can or they're going to keep going. But there you go.
Here's one for you, James.
I love
I would love to
movies.
hear your opinion about this. I don't know if you've actually seen this episode because it ended with one episode.
Okay.
Because it's a British series and that's how
British.
they do it. They're like, it's a new season. And you're like, okay. And they're like, it's 2.5 episodes.
Is it the David Brent movie?
No, it's Sherlock. The Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock.
I was off the Sherlock bandwagon.
Me
before
too.
the
But I've
end
seen
of-
every episode.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think we even talked about that on this show.
I think we did, yeah.
But
But it's bad.
It's bad.
It's the worst episode of anything, maybe.
I,
It's so bad.
I liked that show so much initially.
It's the first episode is quite. There were so many seasons, but there was 4.
Was there?
I think there was.
And some of them had 10 episodes and some of them had none. I don't know how many.
And there was a Christmas episode that only existed in our minds.
Yeah,
there
well,
were 4 seasons.
Was there though an actual Christmas episode?
There was the one where it's they imagine themselves as like Victorian era, like
Yeah, that was a
traditional,
Christmas one. That's right.
Sherlock. But the first episode is good. of the first season,
Poison.
and then it's diminishing returns.
I think there
from
are
that
some other
forward.
good ones in there. I think the inclusion of Moriarty's quite good. He's good. Andrew Scott as Moriarty, I like.
I go back and forth. I actually like his performance, even though it's nothing like Book Moriarty.
Sure.
But I just thought it was just a
More kung fu, like the
weird,
movie.
weird lunatic.
Yeah, he was a weird lunatic.
Weird lunatic.
And he
kills
shot himself
He
to
shoots
teach
himself for
him a
no
lesson.
reason, and then he just keeps coming back every.
Mostly on video.
Yeah. But the
Okay, so here we go. Season 1, 3 episodes. So season 1, 2, 3, and 4 had 3 episodes each, and there was a special in the middle.
yeah.
So there you go.
The last episode, it's revealed that Sherlock has a secret sister who's an even better.
Nola.
Yes.
No.
Secret sister who's even more of a mind palace genius than he is, and also a secret.
And can do voices.
Yeah, and also a secret brother, but he imagines
Or
him
maybe
as
he might have been a friend. I
Oh,
can't
it's
remember.
a secret friend
Who he thought was a dog.
A dog. Imagine
Called
this-
Redhead or Red
yeah,
Man.
yeah. And it's awful, and it makes no sense, and it's all just. And,
It got too mind
and
palace-y.
it's all mind palaces, and Moriarty's still it because apparently the idea was that Moriarty only had an obsession with Sherlock because he'd met the sister
At a weird
and
prison.
she'd mind palaced him so hard that he'd become obsessed with Sherlock, and that was his whole deal. And it was, and again, there's a great people haven't seen it. I think I've mentioned on the show. There's an H Bomber Guy video on Sherlock
Yes.
and how and
Why it sucks or whatever.
yeah, and apparently, and I didn't know this at the time, but apparently the last episode was so bad that the Sherlock fandom was like, this isn't really the last episode. This is deliberately bad, so
Oh, they
bad.
QAnon'd it.
Yeah, they were like, this is so, deliberately so bad, but actually there's a special coming out of
I
a
do
different
remember this.
show, but it's actually secretly a Sherlock episode because one of the actors' names was like Emily Watson. And they're like, well, that's a clue that this is actually going to be a Sherlock episode, and it's going to turn everything around, and it's going to reveal that actually what we thought was bad, it was still bad on purpose.
Yeah.
But actually this is going to... And then it just came out and was just a different show. And they're like, oh,
And he made Dracula.
Yeah.
Which started good and then
also bad. That's how he does it. That's how he does it. Anyway,
Yeah.
it is bad.
I think it's cast well.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I think it's like there's good stuff in it.
But here's the thing. That's the thing, though. I don't know if I would include this just because the finale was about on par with a lot of the episodes.
Okay.
And if you like Sherlock, you know,
I think it's easily the worst episode.
Yeah.
Oh, there's like one where he goes to like an Asian underground market with swordsmen. I think that's not a good one
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
But that got so like it built upon its lore in the worst way.
yeah.
Yeah.
But again, like if
How do you
you,
mind palace someone?
I don't know, but the character, the actors, the reason it got through so far is the actors are charismatic and it's
Totally.
it's fun and
It brought Benedict Cumberbatch to the eyes of the public.
yeah, exactly. And if people enjoy it on that level, yes. But I think that episode, like a lot of people, are like this is a great show, and then they ruined it. I think it was about that same level of quality
Yeah,
for
fair
most
enough.
of it. But there you go.
We talked about this, recently-ish, but Game of Thrones. We would
yes.
be remiss not to mention it.
Uh-huh.
I think Game of Thrones, and I'm sure I've said this, if you just did 10 in the last series and stretched out that Khaleesi turns evil in a flashback, no, not even a flashback, in a previously on, which I think you mentioned at the time, where they're like previously on, and then it shows all the hints that she was going to go insane.
Yeah, right,
And then
right.
she just goes insane and murders half the city. I think if you spread that out, it could have been better and different. Like you built the jealousy that she had, that people loved Jon Snow for flying a dragon and rescuing them, even though she's the one who brought her army across the world and most of them died and rescued really everybody. And, you build that side of it. You work into the family relations of that more. And, then you do the twist that she kills everybody. I think that would have been a much more compelling ending. An idea that I had was the reason that she turns on everybody in King's Landing is one of her dragons is killed and they're all cheering and like stabbing it on the ground, like the regular people.
right.
And she's like, fuck this.
Yeah,
like I
right,
flew across the world for this and they don't care. Because they don't, by the way. Like that's the thing, I guess, which I liked about Game of Thrones. The regular people don't give a shit who's in charge.
That's true,
It
yeah.
doesn't matter to them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I know people think it dipped in quality as soon as it went off book, but for me, that wasn't necessarily the case. It definitely
right.
sped things up and
Yeah.
character motivations got a bit iffy. But I think with some few tweaks, it would have been better received and maybe brighten up that one episode.
Sorry, what?
Brighten up that one episode.
Oh, yeah, the really dark episode
The real
where you-
dark
what
one.
was happening?
Where
I
they were
don't
like,
even know.
actually, it's your TV. Remember they were
Yeah,
like,
I remember
it's
that.
your problem, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've put my TV's brightness up to 150 and I still can't see anything, so
Yeah.
thanks for nothing.
So what about you? You were never a massive Game of Thrones guy anyway, were you? You
No,
always
I
thought it
was not.
miserable.
I was not overly invested, but
Yeah.
but I had hope that the last. I'm like, well, most of the main characters are dead.
Yeah.
they could that shortens the number of characters that I have to remember. So it'll be this will be fun and breezy. But again, I didn't.
I think it also got...
Even as I'm not a huge fan, I'm like, why is she gone crazy for no reason?
I also think it went fan servicey in the worst way when they were like, well, the mountain has to fight his brother or whatever.
exactly,
But
yeah.
it's like, he doesn't.
No, that the whole
You're only doing this because it became like Clegane Bowl. That was like the
Well,
thing.
yeah, I always thought the whole arc of the not monstrous Uzi version,
Yeah.
the not Uzi brother was like he doesn't need to fight anymore.
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah,
they also
I
made some
remember-
critical errors to be like, well, Daenerys, like, she forgot about the Iron Fleet or whatever.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, why would she forget about that? That's a massive omission. And a dragon got shot through the neck. And even, I remember, because people would also watch the after shows and then go, oh, I see your train of thought here and it's nonsense.
Sure,
And this is
right.
why you're not doing Star Wars anymore, baby.
What are they doing now?
They got a huge Netflix deal.
They did, didn't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
So I don't know what they're making. But they were going to do that, the Civil War Never Ended show or something.
Oh, that's right. And people were like, that sounds awful. And we don't want that right now.
And they're not.
They're not good.
But
Do you think maybe have they discovered some sort of gravy train where they're just going to be like, we got an opt-out clause for this Netflix deal. We get $10 million if we don't do anything. And they'll just hop to
they could
Hulu or whatever.
Just jump around and never make anything ever again. But one of the moments that I thought was really telling was that when the mountain is killed by his brother, the Hound.
Yes.
He's like, well, the Hound destroys him by throwing him and his brother into fire, which is the thing that he fears the most. And he's doing that because he's overcome that. Or he hates his brother more than he's afraid of fire.
Right.
But if you remember what happened, he pushes him through a solid stone wall.
And there just happens to be some
and
fire.
And he tumbles like 100 feet into fire, and they're like, how poetic, how brave. No, he would have fucking hated that. Like, I'm pretty sure that he didn't realize that there was a big like pit of fire down the bottom. So just shit like that, like whatever. I guess I did hate it more than I thought.
Seems that way. Here's your true feeling.
This is coming back though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting a
yeah, of course
prequel,
it is, yeah.
but 100% they're going to do a sequel to it. There's
Yeah.
enough people left alive, and Jon
true.
Snow's living in the woods with his mates or whatever.
Yeah. And Bran's
A computer on the throne
He's the throne
who can live forever.
because his story is the best story.
He's got the worst story.
the
He wasn't
best.
even in a season because he's got the worst story.
Bad story.
Remember that? He disappeared for fucking
Yes.
like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's got the best story?
No, Mason.
No, who's got the best story?
Oh, I guess he has all the stories.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Peter Dinklage would have been a
yeah, he was
better
all over
choice.
the place. Oh, he's going all over the world.
And
that
he's
bloke.
not like your action man or whatever. Or you give it to a slave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like any of Daenerys' slaves that
Yeah.
didn't get beheaded.
That's right.
I don't know. Give it to the Hound. Give it to
one of
the
those-
Mountain.
Give it to one of those Spaniard types.
Yeah, give it
You
to
know?
one of the sexy Spaniards.
Yes.
Any of them.
Yes, charm the other kingdoms, you know. Ooh.
Yeah. So I don't know. Fucking whatever.
I've got one here. We're gonna. I think we should go through some ones we haven't read, just to briefly.
Like have it like
I haven't seen
looked
yet.
at. Yeah, sure.
Merlin. Did you watch Merlin? No. This
But
one just says, but again, this is from the BuzzFeed list where they've just quoted. So this one just says, I will never forgive the writers for the final episode. So many issues. Arthur dying when he's supposed to have this great destiny, killing so many of the great characters off, and the whole van driving past at the end thing. When I rewatched the series, I skipped the last couple of episodes and read fanfics instead. That's a tweet from somebody.
Powerful stuff.
A van drives past at the end thing. Do you reckon?
I need
maybe
to see this.
Do you reckon? Yeah, please. Do you reckon? So, James, if you remember the game Monkey Island 2,
I do.
the Monkey Island games were these like point and click adventures set in this crazy pirate world, right? But at the end, it's revealed that the main character and the main villain were just they were two kids lost at a fun park, and they were making all of it up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and then
But
they
not really
retcon
voodoo
that.
magic. They retcon that eventually.
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that.
okay,
But
yeah.
I like the idea that all of the series Merlin was just like some kids at a playground or whatever,
I don't see the
and just
van.
a van goes past.
I think Guinevere is queen.
Okay,
I don't
it says
see
van
a van.
driving past at the end thing.
I don't see the van.
It seems fairly unambiguous. It says a van. Maybe just Google Merlin van.
Yeah.
And you'll find some beautiful vans with like wizardly airbrushes on the side.
Oh my god. Yeah, I am getting that, so I need to
Yeah.
narrow my search.
Merlin
here.
TV series. Van.
I'm not seeing nothing, man. I don't know what they're talking about.
That's perfect, isn't it? That's a
Yeah.
perfect BuzzFeed list.
Is Merlin coming back in 2020? People ask.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's getting season 6 full new series
My
coming.
God.
Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, it is. It's getting a season 6. Great.
Look,
guess.
number 5, Alf. The family spent the
God.
whole show protecting Alf, only for the series to end with the
Only
FBI
for the dad
capture.
to get arrested for drug trafficking charges.
Also,
in real life or
Alf
something.
ate cats, so I think he should go to hell. as
Yeah,
far as
so
I'm
they all
concerned.
got arrested and they brought him back in an Alf
Project Alf.
project mini-series.
Yes.
But the family weren't in it, so
They weren't in
presumably
it.
they were executed in
They were all
Guantanamo
executed
Bay or something.
for aiding and abetting extraterrestrial life. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alf got away with it.
Yeah.
Melmac, right?
Melmac, the planet Melmac.
Yeah.
Um,
So I didn't watch the end of this, but that 70s...
Gordon Shumway. That's his real name.
That's his real name.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the end of this, but that 70s show...
Yes.
Topher Grace had left to do Spider-Man 3,
Yeah.
I think. Ashton Kutcher had left, but both of them came back and like cameoed.
Uh-huh.
And what people are really upset about is Jackie and Fez got together. Then they just pushed two
Whoa.
people together and went, whatever, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So there you go.
I love it.
Isn't it? What do you think about the Seinfeld finale?
Oh, I just watched that recently.
I know a lot of people really hate it, but and those last 2 seasons without Larry David are like,
Oh, no, actually, I didn't watch it. I watched a legal video on YouTube where they break down the case. Because the case, if you recall, in the episode of Seinfeld,
The Good
was there was
Samaritan.
a Good Samaritan law in that they go visit a town and there's a Good Samaritan law. Where they see a man getting mugged,
Mm.
and not only do they not help, they mock him on video.
Yes.
And then the
That's very 2020, Mason.
yeah, I know, right?
Ahead of his time,
Cancelled
Seinfeld.
at least.
Bloody hell.
People are too sensitive,
I agree with Jerry Seinfeld when he says that every fucking week on his show.
right? And yeah, the basically what happens is a parade of like previous guest stars on the show up and be like, as character witnesses, be
Yeah.
like, these people suck.
Way better.
Doesn't
than-
hold up legally. You can't do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, can't do it.
Way better than a flashback, though,
Oh yeah,
which there is some of maybe.
there are flashbacks. Yes,
But yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a good
Yeah.
way. I think it's very fan servicey, but
Yeah.
also I'm like, yeah, they should be in jail.
They absolutely should all be in jail.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for dating teenagers.
But dating
When
teenagers
they're
in
adults.
real life, maybe
They
One
all
of-
did it.
Maybe all of them.
Yep. No, just one of them.
Just to be clear, just one of them, and just Jerry Seinfeld
It's Jerry
dated a
Seinfeld.
17-year-old when he was like 38
34,
or
yeah.
whatever it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yep.
just to clarify,
Just to clarify, none of the others did.
they're no longer together, are they?
I don't know.
I don't think they are. I think he married someone else.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
he could date her now because she's probably not 17 anymore.
Yep.
But he's probably not interested.
Yeah, and also he's in jail.
Yes, that's right. Are we talking real? What are we talking?
I don't know anymore. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I've come around on Smallville.
Okay.
Since he made a reappearance.
Okay.
Also, there's a final episode of Seinfeld they didn't curb, but it's mostly improv. If you
Oh,
remember.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
It's fun.
Now you're saying because at the end of because Smallville was a series all about Clark Kent not becoming Superman, and at the end he briefly becomes Superman like from a
distance,
from a
and-
great distance.
and you see the symbol up close. But then when you see him in one of the Crisis on Infinite Earths episodes,
Yes.
they go to his farm and he's chopping wood, and Lex Luthor's like, "Here's some kryptonite, and I'm from 2.5 Men," which I do want to talk about.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Clark Kent just like throws it away and punches him in the face because he's given up his powers.
Yeah.
And to me, that went, okay, yeah, well, that's the kind of guy he is.
Hmm.
He's not regular Superman. He's I don't want to be Superman,
Yeah.
which is also a valid version of Superman.
Yeah, yeah.
So look, even though I think it's a massive cop out
All
to
right.
not do it properly, I think that speaks to that character in an interesting way that works for me and kind of makes me go, yeah, this show I gave up watching. That's fine.
Okay, sure. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And as if I remember correctly, like it turns out there's enough superheroes in that world that he didn't need to be Superman anymore.
Yeah.
And also, like the comic book version, he is Superman.
For a bit, maybe.
So if you want to read that, you can read that.
Absolutely can.
Yes.
What do you reckon they paid Tom Welling for that?
I don't know.
He goes,
100
look,
grand?
let me
100 grand.
Let me strike that dude in the face for real. I'll do it for free. John Cryer, let me hit him once.
He's an award-winning actor.
John Cryer.
Yeah.
I like him. And
I
he's
like
in
him too.
Superman 4.
He's Lex
Lex Luthor's nephew?
Yeah. Mhm.
And now he's real Lex Luthor.
Oh my god.
Yeah. How do you feel about one of the finales of the X-Files? I'm talking about the main one that happened in like 2001 or 2. Do you remember it?
No.
Also a courtroom scene.
Is it?
Well, they got replaced.
Oh yeah.
Mulder
right.
and Scully got replaced by
Doggett and Reyes.
Doggett and
Reyes, yeah.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Who were fine, to be fair. I remember one when Doggett got trapped in an underground lair with with the lizard man who could spit poison.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay. And then Mulder's on trial for all these FBI crimes.
Yeah, and his sex crimes.
And his sex crimes, unrelated. But, well, maybe not. But anyway, so the truth, which is the point of the show, I guess, was a date for the alien invasion.
Yeah.
And it turns out to be like 2009 or whatever. Huh. Anyways, it doesn't happen because there's a movie, which I think comes out just before. Do you remember that? But it's like Billy Connolly's a pedophile and a priest.
I didn't watch that one.
And someone's sewing people's heads to dogs.
Oh.
It's not very good.
Okay.
And then there was a revival TV show, which people initially liked and then went boo, actually.
I still liked it.
Did you watch the whole way through?
Yeah.
And how did it end?
There's the son. The son's in it. Duchovny's son. Not Duchovny. Fox Mulder's son.
And what is he like?
He's like, I've got powers or something. There's powers, and maybe he becomes a phantom killer murderer guy or something.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Big fan?
No.
So it's not good.
I like the funny episodes.
I like the funny ones. There was one with Kumail Nanjiani and what's the dude from Flight of the Conchords? Murray.
Reese Darby.
Reese Darby's, which is like he's a lizard man who gets bitten by a human and turns into a human.
Yeah.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
So yeah. Also, there's going to be a new series. We talked about it's animated, but it's the X-Files. But it's like, but it's X-Files, but like the people who they're not good enough for the X-Files, so they get the even worse cases.
Also, it's Star Trek Lower Decks, but X-Files.
But X-Files. Right. So there you go.
Wow.
I want to ask you about this because I read the finale and I went, "Oh my god, fascinating!" And I vaguely remember this.
Okay.
So the TV show Enterprise, which ended in 2005, stopped Star Trek for 4 years. It stopped TV Star Trek for even longer.
Because it's set largely during the Next Generation.
Correct. Yeah. So the show ends by the crew from the Next Generation, including Riker and others, going on the holodeck and watching their final adventures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's also set during an episode of the Next Generation from 1994. So they're not really... in it.
No, it's mostly a Next Gen episode.
Yeah. And it was, I guess, supposed to be a homage to all Trek, I assume?
Yeah, but it was just like if you were an Enterprise fan, you're not getting a lot of Enterprise, like, closure. I don't know why they did it. I mean, I guess the homage thing.
Apparently everybody thought it was a really good idea at the time.
Okay, right. Did the cast of I guess the cast of Enterprise were like, we could get a half day for this.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly, yeah.
Do you think it's a Scott Bakula thing? Because Quantum, a lot of people were unhappy.
Oh, we'll talk about Quantum
you've got
Leap.
Quantum Leap.
I've got Quantum Leap.
You got Quantum Leap there. Okay, right.
Well, now?
Maybe, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, that was a segue that I was doing there.
I never watched it, but the premise of Quantum Leap was a guy quantum leaped.
Yep.
And the idea was that he would jump into different bodies through time.
Exactly.
And he would help them with
He had
problems.
to right wrongs, yeah.
Yeah, but also he had a hologram man who would help him.
Yeah, it was only he could see
Only he could see him. So, but also if he went in the body of like someone with no legs,
he could still walk.
He could still walk.
Yeah.
And because
a lot of people are big fans of Quantum Leap, like you wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
Like just people our age, you know?
Sure, absolutely.
You're like Quantum Leap and they're like, oh my God, I watched every episode.
I say Quantum Queef. That's what I say. Got it. Never really watched it. But so in the end, he learns that he can return home. But in an epilogue, a black screen pops up and it says, Dr. Sam Beckett with one T, which is his name spelled wrong, never returned home.
That's wild, right?
Why did they do that?
Why did he do it? I don't know.
But don't add that.
Yeah.
You just be like, he made it, I guess. Yeah. Didn't he?
Maybe somebody like in the production team was annoying and really loved the idea of him getting home.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, we'll show you.
And they did.
Yeah, they got him.
So how did Sliders end? I mean, everybody had already left the series. How did Sliders end?
Well, there is an episode of Sliders that is very similar because if you recall, Sliders, it's also a dimension hopping show.
But through big tunnels.
And they've got a damaged dimension hopping device and they keep...
It's random.
Exactly. It won't get them back to where they want to be. And then at one point, they're like, we'll know if this is the
gate.
We'll know if this is we'll know if this is the original universe that we've gotten back to home if the gate squeaks.
Yeah.
Because the gate at my house squeaks and none of the other gates have ever squeaked.
I know this squeak like the back of my squeak.
Exactly. And then he goes, oh, it doesn't squeak, it isn't. And then rather than going into his house, they've got no time and they have to go back into the gateway.
Because you have to get into the gate whenever it opens or you miss it for like 1,000 years or whatever. I can't remember. Yeah.
And so, but then all his family come out of the house and they're like, boy, we sure did a good job just oiling this gate. Just oiling this gate. Boy, I wish our son
Jerry O'Connell
Jerry
was
O'Connell
here.
was here because he would have cut this task time in half because he's a super genius. That kid always picking up on clues and
Speaking
context
of-
clus.
Where is he? Where did he go?
We don't know. We don't know. I mean, it's we miss him, but it's
And then they introduced his brother, the actor's brother,
Yes.
who replaced him in the show, but also they got mind melded together, maybe.
yep, and they were the same character. Yeah.
But also he turned out to be his real brother in the show was his brother also.
yeah, that
I
show's
think.
a mess. That
Yeah.
really that started out. Man, that was a show that I would like.
That was the only show that I liked.
Yeah,
From
but
that
that was. I feel that was a lot of shows in the '90s where they were just like. Again, it wasn't a case of like we've all got to hold this together for the sake of the narrative.
Yeah.
It was just like I'm going to leave because you're not paying me enough, or I've got a movie or something, and they were just like, well, we'll just
we don't-
cludge together.
we don't
whatever
care.
We have left. Yeah, we don't care. Yeah,
They probably did that with the Pretender. They got a new Pretender.
we're just selling Burger King ads here. We don't have to do anything in
So
particular.
true.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I got two more. 2.5 Men. A show I barely watched.
I have one that I didn't watch, but I know you watched till right at the end, and it might be your second one. But
Go
we'll,
on.
we'll do it. In
Is
a
it
minute.
Lost?
It's Lost.
Whatever. Honestly, it's like an emotional closure more than like this makes sense as a closure.
Remind me what happens again.
They all were in purgatory
They're in-
for some
okay.
of it,
Right.
but not all of it.
So it's Life on Mars.
Yeah, because there's two different timelines in the last series, and you're like, what's going on? Because one's like the real world where they're all running around, and sometimes it's the island, and it turns out they had to wait for everybody to die to go to purgatory so they could all go into church and hold hands and walk into heaven together. But it was more about, as I mentioned, like the emotional journey. And I think that also he nails it in both The Watchmen and what's the other show that Lindelof did? The Leftovers.
Yeah.
Which are much better shows because I think he had more creative control. And like, well, you mentioned this, but like how the Lost creators were just like, whatever. We're just piling on mysteries.
Yeah.
And there's no, and
It'll keep people watching.
and they're like, how are you going to solve it? And they're like, we're not.
Yeah.
We're actually not.
Yeah.
They're going to have he's going to fight the smoke monster, but it's John Locke and he
Nice.
gets stabbed and whatever. Fucking banging pilot though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean the pilot, but also the pilot series,
guy-
which was the most expensive pilot ever because they disassembled a
They bought
real
an actual plane, right?
and
Yeah.
it's great. And it was going to be Michael Keaton and they were going to kill the pilot. But then it became Greg Grunny Grunberg because they were like, if we get Michael Keaton, we kill Michael Keaton. People were like, but that's Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
So then they ended up doing it that way.
But then he'll have, because of the movie Multiplicity, there'll be a few Michael Keatons left, so
That's
we can
right,
kill
it's
him
a
again.
Multiplicity
I'm like, we keep watching
sequel.
this show, they'll just keep killing Michael Keatons.
But that also got caught up in like flashbacks, and it's like, do I need to see everybody's flashback 4 seasons in now? Do I need to know what Sawyer was doing as he was boarding the plane? Who
What
he
about
what
Boone?
Yeah,
Is
what
Boone a
about it?
character?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, now talk to me about 2.5 Men. So all I know about 2.5 Men really is that it was Charlie Sheen for a long time.
Yep.
And then he had a falling out with the creator of the show,
Chuck
Chuck
Lorre.
Lorre.
Yeah.
And so his character was like
And a
unceremonious.
very public breakdown.
Yeah, and he was unceremoniously killed in the context of the show, right? His character was
I
killed?
think he went to jail. He ended up going to jail because I actually watched the finale. And how it works is that
But then he was replaced by
Ashton Kutcher,
yeah.
who's another handsome guy or whatever who lives in the house. I don't know.
They all just love it. They just need a man who looks good in cargo shorts.
And they did it, maybe. Anyway, they're sitting there and they're like, I can't believe Charlie's getting out of prison for all his crimes that he did in real life and also bad bloke real life. And also in this show. And then they're like, wow, Charlie should be back any minute. Wow, there's a helicopter carrying a grand piano. Who would do that? Oh, that seems like something Charlie would do. And then they're like, wait a minute. Charlie had a grand piano and this helicopter's coming this way. Anyway, everybody thought we were going to get a Charlie Sheen cameo. Cut to the front door. You see the back of an actor's head who looks kind of like Charlie Sheen.
I'm ready.
And then the piano falls on him and kills him.
Nice.
Then, I'm not making this up. I need to stress this. The camera pulls back and they're on a set and Chuck Lorre is sitting in a director's chair with his name on the back.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he turns to the camera
And he says, this is the movie Jiu Jitsu, Nicolas Cage.
and he says, winning, and then a second piano falls on him.
Oh, Chuck Lorre.
And that's the end of the series.
Wow, good
And
stuff.
people were like, disrespectful.
To who?
Exactly. To this terrible fucking show.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Nice.
But, every show is someone's favorite show.
Yeah.
Even though this is the worst show.
And then it's like, dead man.
I feel bad for that kid. He got caught up in a weird Christian cult. I don't know if you saw that.
Maybe, right.
Yeah. Because he got too rich too early and then...
Well, I was going to say I don't feel that bad because he's very rich.
yeah,
so,
well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's 2.5 Men. I got one more if you've got one, though.
I don't have one more.
Well, you're going to talk about this one, though.
Okay,
Because it's
I'm
the
ready.
Saint Elsewhere
Oh, okay.
universe.
Well, I never watched Saint Elsewhere. Nobody
No,
did.
but why is it important?
Oh, because it encompasses every TV show and movie ever made.
Yes.
Because at the end of the series of Saint Elsewhere, set in the fictional hospital of Saint Ellesmere,
Yes.
it's revealed that the hospital exists within a snow globe, and the snow globe is owned by a small autistic boy named Tommy Westfall. And because Saint Elsewhere crossed into other TV series,
Yes.
which crossed into other
Oh,
TV
and they're like,
series.
what is Tommy even thinking about?
Yeah.
Because he
Right.
never talks. He just imagines
Yeah.
hospital scenarios.
That's right. And so that suggests that every TV show in existence and everything that crossed over. So we are talking the X-Files. We are talking probably Scrubs. We're talking all sorts of shows exist all in Tommy Westfall's mind.
Yes.
Which I mean, it's fun to think about, but it also overlooks the idea that I can imagine a thing that also exists in real life. So I can imagine a hospital, even though a hospital also exists and is real.
Absolutely,
So, you know
yeah.
what? Yeah.
So I've got here, it's called the Tommy Westfall universe,
Yes.
which is constantly updated, and the master list has 419 different shows and movies.
Give me some examples.
The Addams Family,
Okay.
MASH,
Yep,
Ally
makes sense.
McBeal, Becca. These are just random, by the way.
All shows
Bones,
that end perfectly.
Buddies, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Cheers?
Clueless, Cheers.
Because if Cheers and Becca are in the same universe, that means there are two Ted Dansons
Yes, running amok.
that both have different jobs. One's a bar owner and one's a cranky doctor.
Dexter,
Oh,
all of the Doctor Who.
yep.
Everybody loves Raymond. It's Always Sunny, King of Queens.
Wow.
It's literally everything.
Well, then obviously
Power Rangers.
Mad Friends and Mad About You.
Yeah, that's right. The Office, both US and UK.
That's right.
Because they cross over. Yeah, I don't know how this works. Like, I don't have the specifics of like how, but it's also Supergirl, which would also mean all the other CW stuff.
yeah.
Walker, Texas Rangers out here.
Yeah.
It's everything.
A
It's
lot
literally
of
everything.
TV series
The
connect
Wire.
via John Munch.
Yes.
See, that is a perfect example because Detective John Munch from Homicide: Life in the Streets was also in Law and Order, but he also appears in he appears in sitcoms, he's in the X-Files, he's an episode of the X-Files. So it may as well be the John Munch universe as far as I'm concerned.
And obviously, you could even go like Simpsons connects to X-Files and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And that branches into a million
Yeah.
things as well. So, Alf. So, this kid imagines all of this?
Yeah.
Good on him.
No,
That's
I think so too.
amazing.
That's what I said.
There's some really excellent storytelling that he's crafted here. The TV show 24, both from 2001 and 2010, and the 2014 season revival.
Wow. Good
Yeah.
on him. Good on you, Tommy.
Yeah, all good
Good
stuff.
on you, buddy.
There you go. That's my last one, though.
well,
But anyway, people were mad because it's dumb. Just to be like, it's not real, actually.
yeah, but it's fun to think about, isn't it?
No, I mean in terms of like that one show.
Oh, right,
People
yeah.
were mad that it was a bad ending because they just went, all those characters, nah,
Yeah.
they're not real.
But also, I want to be there when that finale came out and just scream into their ears, it's just a metaphor, probably.
Well, that's the thing. It could be just a metaphor, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just it's a meta, but all their stories are insignificant in a way when you
Yeah.
consider something else.
Exactly.
You know? Also, shut up.
I wonder if Garth Marenghi's Dark Place ties into that.
No, I don't think there's any links.
No, that's a good show. People should watch
There's
that.
a hospital.
Yeah, well, that's one. Yeah.
Have you seen the spin-off from that, Man to Man with Dean Lerner?
Is that like a?
It's the interview show.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Good. It's also good.
Yeah.
I think there might be a second spin-off as well. Let's look it up, James.
Let's look it up.
Which I have not seen.
It's a great show that stopped because
I
nobody
agree.
watched it. It's only 6, right?
I think so.
I follow the Garth Marenghi Twitter page where they just post clips, and I'm like,
yeah, nice.
this might be the funniest show ever made.
Yeah. Characters who originated in the Garth Marenghi's Fright Night stage show. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah, okay. I think I did know. It was like a Mighty Boosh situation, right?
Yeah.
Everything about that show is funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There is no, it's so,
Yeah.
every joke lands. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they. I wonder.
Also, some people hate it,
Oh,
which I
yeah,
can also
yeah.
understand.
Yeah. I'm just going to look up, see what Matthew Holness did after this. So
I looked that up the other day.
Yeah, not a lot. He he directed and wrote a movie in 2018 called Possum.
Okay, I haven't seen that or heard of it.
I mean, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's Max in Toast of London.
Oh, yep.
He's in The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, there you go. That's great.
There you go. Okay.
Perfect. And I love how everything is ADR'd. Like,
I haven't watched it.
literally, no, dark place. It's
Yeah, yeah.
literally everything is ADR'd.
Yeah.
Ah, it's so good. There's that shot, you remember he walks up to the grave and it's just too long?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Because the episodes are too short.
Yeah.
They filmed them too short, so everything's in slow mo. It's fucking crazy funny.
Yeah. But that's kind of the magic of like British TV series.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's 6 episodes, so every single good idea you have about that just smushed in.
Yeah, it's brilliant. All right, here we go, Mason.
What is this?
It's the What We're Reading theme, but because it's the first episode,
yeah.
it'll be fresh.
Nice.
I'm doing the theme. Westworld 2K. That is the first time I have done that.
Oh, it was already annoying though. I don't know why. Don't say words over the themes. God damn it, James. What have you been watching and reading and
I
such?
started and finished the first season of Mr. Robert finally.
Oh, Mr. Robot.
There's 3 seasons, is that right? Or 10? It's finished though, isn't it?
Yes.
I like it.
There
It's
you go.
good because people like it and I like it.
Very good.
And that's good enough
so
for
you're
me.
in the same. You're relatable to the listeners who I believe also
Yes.
have watched and enjoyed Mr. Robot.
I was kind of saw some twists coming, which I won't spoil here.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd already had them spoiled for me. Maybe that's why I saw it coming. But
There you go.
But I won't get into it. But
How do you like that Rami Malek?
he's fucking amazing, mate.
Do you think he's underused in things?
I mean, he was Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay,
And
then.
he's in the new Bond movie.
Yep.
So no.
All right,
Do you
then,
think
good.
he's underused in things? He won an
Underused in-
Oscar.
Underused in good things.
Yeah. Did you finish all of Mr. Robert?
No, I'm seasons behind. I
Is
think.
it stays good though, right?
I don't know.
Right.
I hope, one would hope so.
I'm loving Christian Slater as well.
Oh, he's good, isn't he?
Loving what he's about.
Yeah.
I'm loving how people like in the 90s are like he kind of looks like Jack Nicholson, and I'm like, sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's his own man too, but
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. He was in cuffs.
He was in cuffs. He was recently in Dear John season 2. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, wow.
What you reading?
You know what? Speaking of earlier about Terry Pratchett stuff, I finally finished because I started it a billion years ago. Good Omens on Amazon Prime.
Cool show, right?
It is a good show,
And it's done.
And it's one of those shows where I'm like, I was a few episodes in, and I'm like, this is really good. I'm going to devote a lot of time to this. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to get myself some free time and finish this.
Yeah.
And I just never did.
Yeah.
But it's real good. And
It's got that look of an Amazon show, whatever that means.
Yeah, it does.
I mentioned
It
it
really
before.
does,
I don't know
yeah.
what it means, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That and the Tick and the boys. They got a look.
they do have a certain look.
But what is it? Digital film, probably.
That's probably it, yeah.
Could be a different thing. But
And Amazon Video comes up real big.
sure, it goes, badong.
Ba-dong!
That's
Yeah,
how
nice.
you know.
Yeah, yeah.
What? So you know it's done though. They're like never again.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's a cool ending.
Yeah.
It's kind of if you haven't seen it, it's like Supernatural but British and funnier.
Yeah,
The Supernatural is pretty funny as well.
if you say so.
I do say so. It's got good jokes about different burgers that Dean eats.
Nice.
I'm
References?
way behind on Supernatural.
Well, everyone is. It's been going for 400 years.
It started maybe when I was in school. Like it was started a really long time, at least university, which is a million years ago.
And I started playing the video game Bloodborne.
Oh yeah.
So welcome back to 2015,
I
everybody.
saw your Avatar boy.
Yeah, I've made a slightly different avatar since then.
Why?
I think his beard was too big, so I made a smaller beard.
Because the
and I changed
villains
and I
grab
changed the hair. He had floppy down the face hair.
Yeah.
And I gave him like a smarter
hair.
haircut. Yes.
Okay, cool.
I considered giving him little glasses or little goggles, but then I didn't.
Because too much.
Too much, I think. Yeah.
So you're saying your look in real life is too much?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying to
too
me.
much. There's too many things happening.
You
Look.
could get rid of one of that. I don't know
think
which
so, yeah.
one. Maybe all of it. No, I hate that.
Oh, come on now. What a
You're gonna have to shave your beard
on my head.
or your head,
Right.
and then come back and I'll tell you which one works.
And I'll come back with no beard and you'll be like, no, you've
The
made
other
a
one,
terrible
the
mistake.
the hair, actually.
Yeah.
I
But
think.
yeah, it's a game that's very different to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Games that I'm used to. There's no hand holding to it. Like it's not. They don't even. There's
It's not the game Ico. That's a great reference. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
I'm aware of Ico. But it's not even a game where you encounter a monster and they're like, now if you want to attack, you got to push this button and dodge with this button. It's just you have to find the clue. Like these little like skeleton spirits come out of the ground and it says read the note they're giving you and it's like press circle to dodge. And if you don't read that, you just don't know. You just play the game, you don't know. And like the first enemy is sort of designed to kill you. Like the idea is like you go into this game and it kills you straight away. And then you're like, well, I guess I'm going to die in this game a lot. So.
Yeah, and you do?
Yeah, oh yeah, tons of times.
Do you enjoy it though?
Yeah, you sort of feel yourself getting better.
Yeah.
You're like,
because it's fair, right?
ooh.
Not fair. It rewards
Persistence
and work.
in a way. Like what I have noticed is like when you die in this game and you go back to the start or the checkpoint or whatever, you go back through the level and you have to fight the initially you're fighting a lot of townsfolk.
Just mowing them down?
No, they got pitchforks and torches and bits of wood and cleavers and stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough until you figure out what's going on. Oh, I changed the guy's weapon as well. I started with an axe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this isn't the weapon for me. So now I've got like a walking cane that you can stab with, but it also turns into a whip.
Sweet.
Wha-cha! And then
You can
whip.
pick that from the get-go?
Well, what happened? Yeah, like right after you're killed by the first monster. Apparently, you can defeat it if you're any good, but I'm not any good.
Yeah.
And then you go into this like hunter's dream world, and the spirits offer you these weapons, and you can pick a melee weapon and you can pick a gun. But there's like you're like, I don't know which is good. Like,
Yeah.
what do you like? There's no whole. They're not like
And
the
it
gun is
sounds-
good for shooting fast, but the blunderbuss is.
It could be like
more
the gun
powerful.
doesn't work, actually.
That's right.
But we're not gonna tell you
It shoots
that.
you directly in the head. Sorry.
You don't even have to pull the trigger. It just
Yeah.
goes off.
But what I was going to say is like when you die and then you respawn and then you start mowing through the townsfolk again. Each time you do that, they drop fewer items. So like the first time you go through
It's
that,
less rewarding.
They're dropping like health potions and bonus stuff and like bullets and things. But as you go through, as you repeat the sequence again, they're dropping fewer things.
Yeah.
So it actually gets harder. But it sort of encourages you to get better without relying on that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I don't know if that's by design or it's
I'd
just-
imagine it is by design. I think
Maybe,
it is,
yeah.
yeah. So did you get good?
I'm all right. I beat the first boss, so that's
Cool.
Yeah.
That's
Which
good.
is like, it's called the Cleric Beast, and I'm like, and I heard about it like beforehand. Like
Like the townsfolk were like...
No, I like just like people are like, you'll have fun when you get to the Cleric Beast. I'm like, oh, it'll be a cleric and he's got a hammer. It's not. It's a huge monster with a giant one giant arm and one even gianter arm, and it's covered in
Could you say 2 giant arms?
yeah, but one's gianter.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's screaming all the time. Everybody's screaming in this town. Oh, I hate the universe as well. It's just, I hate it, but I'm intrigued by it because it's this horrible, like, neo-Victorian Gothic universe and it's awful. And you knock on somebody's door and they're like, I shan't let you in because it's awful out there and you're awful and the whole town's awful. Like, why do I live here? Get out of here.
Yeah.
You know?
And then you kill them?
No, they just never come out of the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. How do they get bread?
I think they've got a stockpile of bread in the house.
I mean, you'd want to have a lot,
It's
wouldn't you?
like some sort of hunting purge day, and so all the good citizens have locked themselves in their houses.
So is it set over the course of a day, the game?
No, it's maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not far enough into it to know.
But you level up and power up, don't you, as you go, and it gets
Yeah.
easier. Isn't that the idea?
yeah, and well, you get a new cloak certainly, and new trousers.
Wow.
And a
so
hat,
real
new
life.
hat.
Yeah, new hat.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's my favorite part so far.
Cool.
Actually, it's not because there's limited options. I wish it were more of a Red Dead situation where you can just like wear a fancy
Red Dead
waistcoat.
is too much.
No, it's not for me.
I mean, clothes-wise, I mean just in general,
Oh, okay,
literally
yeah.
everything
It
in
probably
that
is,
game.
yeah.
It's like actually you didn't shoot that animal with the proper gun, so the pelt sucks.
Oh yeah,
And you're
I've
going
heard-
to jail. And I'm like, oh, this is fun, isn't it? This is
Yeah.
a fun game you've made.
Yeah, this
me.
this coat is too hot, so you're slow now.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Don't like
anyway,
it.
it's good. Anyway, Bloodborne's pretty fun, but I only play games in short bursts, so it'll be a billion years before I finish it.
Cool.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
And you'll get worse every time you go back.
Oh
'cause
my
you'll
god,
forget.
I'm absolutely
Well, that sounds like a game I'll never start
yeah.
for that very reason. I can't commit the time to it. I'm just
What
doing.
are you playing right now?
I'm
You
doing a
finished the-
level a day of Super Mario Galaxy with my son.
Oh,
And
is
it-
he any good? Is he any good?
It's great. No, he's
No, but
terrible.
is he any good?
No, he does the there's some touching stuff on the screen you can do.
Okay, yeah.
Like you can swipe to get star bits, and he does a little bit of the platforming.
Okay.
But it's mostly me because I'm.
We'll have a pro gamer out of him sooner rather than later.
That's the plan.
Have you got him his own little gaming chair?
No. Yes.
That one that turns into a scorpion? See that one?
Does it turn into, or is it always?
It's always a scorpion, I guess. Yeah,
It turn into a different, like a bigger, more menacing scorpion, maybe when you
yeah
sit in it.
probably does. You're right.
Yeah, gaming chairs are awful. We've talked about it. Next segment of the show.
Yeah, letters.
Let's do
It's
it.
time for letters.
The classic one was letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away. And now the here right now. We're going to do letters.
Do you think it would be funny?
Go on.
If we call this episode I'd label it episode 1. Do you think I should do it? And then people will get messages until we get to this. People get to this point in the show.
See, you think it'd be funny.
I do.
Because it's quite late at night, and at this point, you think a lot of things are funny. That's why I schedule these recordings for late at night, so you think everything I say is funny.
Correct.
But the instant you get your first tweet of somebody being like, "Oh, is there something wrong here? Have you made James? You've made a mistake here." You'll be like, "I hate this," and you'll be like, "Ah," and you'll,
You know what? I'm going to do it.
wow.
Do you think I should?
Yes, I think you should. Yeah,
Great. I will. I'm going to do it.
Terrific stuff,
But I am
James.
going to hate it.
yeah.
So what do you got in terms if you want to reach the show, #WeeklyPlanetPod.
Please.
Or weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
That's right. This is from Nathan Cox. It says, "Hi guys, writing from the other side of
Nathan.
the world, the UK. Just wanted to write in and say thanks. I'm currently moving out of my parents' house and into my own flat, and you guys have been there throughout the whole thing.
Not
from
true.
driving to doing the viewing, continuous drives back and forth
Oh,
to get
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
stuff, and of course being there as I tediously built 300 pounds worth of IKEA cabinets. Keep up the good work, Nathan."
The worst cabinets.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, I handed you all the Allen keys I could, but there's only so much you can do when you're on a recording.
It's very true,
occasionally
Mason.
I would just, if you listen to the podcast, occasionally I just go, "Allen key." That was me helping.
You've got an Allen key thing, don't you? Like a little toolkit.
God, I've got so many Allen keys.
I know. And they often also you never need an Allen key because whenever you get something with an Allen key,
Contains an Allen key.
But you want to get the ones that's more like a screwdriver. I find. I want that. I want that
yeah.
because the Allen keys are awful.
Oh, it's forever.
It's an
Oh my
awful
God.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hate
Anyway, congratulations on that. That's very
it.
exciting.
Oh, thank you.
Not you.
What?
Anyway, this is from Dan Parker.
Hello, Dan Parker.
Intriguing subject line. Listening to the podcast.
By the way, that rarely works. You're lucky that got through. Intriguing subject line.
Yeah, that's right.
Just so you know, Dan Parker.
Hey, you don't know what it is yet.
Well, I know, but I'm saying that's normally an email that we wouldn't open.
Oh, no, it doesn't say intriguing subject line. It is an intriguing subject line.
I apologise, Dan
Well,
Parker.
There we go. He says, listening to the podcast as I get testicle surgery.
Okay.
Pretty intriguing, right?
Yes.
An intriguing opening gambit as well. Hey, mates, just popped the podcast on so I can say that I'm listening to the podcast as I get very unexpected surgery on my testicle.
Right.
I won't discuss you with the details, but I really appreciate your thoughts as I go under.
We know it's a twisted nut.
I'll send a follow-up when I'm all good. Yeah, if it's
Please
one,
do.
it's probably
Yeah.
it's a torsion issue.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
It's really common.
But I like the idea of just popped the podcast on and then he's talking about his testicles. I think that's
Very good stuff.
good stuff, right?
I've got a tweet here from
Go on.
Very Machos Nachos.
Yes.
What's your guys' most controversial comic book / movie unpopular opinion?
Oh.
The only one I could think of off the top of my head was I like some of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, and that is not a popular opinion, I think.
Yeah. Did
No,
he say?
no,
did we get? Did that was that comic book and movie opinions?
Comic book and movie.
I don't think The Walking Dead's very good.
The comic.
The comic.
Oh yeah, I disagree.
I didn't think it was it wasn't compelling for me. It's fascinating to me that it became this multimedia juggernaut that it is, considering the first 4 issues were quite generic. But I haven't read more of it, so
And Invincible is better?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, those are pretty solid opinions, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I've got another one here, unless you want to do another one, Mason.
Okay, you go on, but I've got a whole bunch more. So you.
Polar
you
Bear says, hey, Nick and James, you guys and others say The Blade 1998 was the first comic book movie. I don't think I've ever said that, but I've always wondered, why don't Richard Donner Superman films or the 90s Batman films count? Or not, 1989, but let's not get into specifics. The reason I think people say that, or we hint towards it, is because Blade led into Spider-Man, X-Men, which led into the MCU and
It's
whatever.
it's an early modern.
even though it's not very modern by
No,
today's
that's
standards,
right,
but that is why people
Yeah.
say that.
This is from Gus. Hey James and Meso, I think the Mr. Freeze movie should be called Freeze, as in Victor Freeze. That way everyone spelled Fries. That way everyone who sees the poster will go fries. Is this about fries, as in fries of the food? Thoughts?
I don't
Yes.
think people are going into a movie called Fries.
I am.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're going to see Super Size Me? Did you see that at the cinema?
No.
Exactly.
But because that was about health or some garbage, right?
Yeah.
What if they're
Yeah.
like fries and you get the ticket and you get some fries?
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other thing. And they're frozen. And they're like,
No.
yes, Mason, it's part of the promo.
Delicious hot
No, it's part of the
fries.
promo.
Wow.
They're frozen blue fries.
Wow.
What do you think? The worst thing I think I ever ate was when I went to see Suicide Squad at the premiere.
Yes.
I mean, Melbourne premiere. So,
Yeah.
maybe Steve Brax's son was there. It's a local reference, don't worry about it. But they gave us candied coloured popcorn and I ate it and it gave me a massive fucking headache.
Yeah, that'll do
Maybe that's why I came out and went, that movie was fine. Actually, I still hold that opinion.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at.
That candy had some serious drugs in it.
It may very well have, yeah. What else, Mason?
This is from Matthew King.
Hello, Matthew
It says
King.
Judge Dredd car, extra detail.
Oh, I'm interested in this,
Because we talked about the
Matthew.
Judge Dredd car last week.
We did, two
there's
Judge
a house
Dredd cars.
with Judge Dredd cars parked outside it.
And we said, why?
Yeah. And so, hey guys, I'm listening to the podcast where you talked about the Judge Dredd car being in Fallowfield, Manchester. I thought about writing in last week, but I didn't get around to it, so Declan got there first. Anyway, I used to drive past the house with the Dredd car in my commute to work and had a mate who lived opposite the house for a while. About 4 or 5 years ago, I did a bit of Googling to work out how the car got there. So the guy whose house it is has a massive collection of Dredd memorabilia. Dreadrebelia. Basically, not only does he have the Dredd car, but inside the house has mannequins dressed in original clothes from the movie, including a replica of the Stallone Golden Shoulder Magnificence, along with tons of other Dredd stuff. It doesn't appear he lives in the house, or at least I hope not, because it was incredibly run down and looks like it could genuinely collapse at any moment. Also, the car itself is a fully functioning car, although definitely not road legal, and one of the 32 Land Rovers converted for the 1995 film. Also, I beg that no one go near his house. It's practically abandoned apart from occasional film crews who shoot there, filming God knows what, and is incredibly ominous.
Secret Dredd sequels, probably.
Yeah, probably. I have another Dredd. Hang on, I've got another Dredd.
That's fascinating. Thank you, Nathan.
I got two more Dredd emails.
Is that Nathan?
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
Emails.
Yeah, nice. This is from Andy, the Dredd vehicles in Manchester.
Everyone knows about this.
Yeah. Was listening to the podcast last week and we were talking about the Dredd vehicles. I occasionally cosplay as a judge from the 2012 Dredd film, and I know the guy who owns all the vehicles Declan mentioned in the email last week.
Cool.
The person in question owns a number of Dredd vehicles, costume and props, and yes, is crazy.
Good to know. I mean, we know, but good to know.
Yeah. He also owns one of the bikes from the 2012 film. So here's me sitting on it, he says. There's a photo.
Oh my God, this is legit.
At a cos. He mostly just takes them to cons, especially around the Manchester area. And here's a little tidbit for us. Oh, and you were recently wondering what was going on with the Mega City 1 show, Rebellion has built a studio which will be used to film the show, and they've built a volume similar to what
video game company.
Rebellion owns 2000 AD. That's
right.
That's the big media company. They have a volume similar to what they used to film The Mandalorian, and apparently on YouTube there's a short film where they've tested the equipment.
Oh, cool.
They will also be filming the Duncan Jones film version of Rogue Trooper there.
Oh,
so there's a bit of a hot tidbit for you right there.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's all. I mean, that's all. And all those stories check out together. You know what I mean? They all make sense together.
And here's one more email.
Ready.
This is from Leah Higgs. It says, "Can you explain
Leah.
Judge Dredd? My dad's in it." Boys, you mentioned Judge Dredd a lot in the last episode. Why? What is it? Who is Judge Dredd? All I know about it is they named a building in it after my dad. So in the 2000 AD,
Peach trees?
the John Higgs block.
Really?
They did it because he's an author and they liked his books, I guess. As you can imagine, this is weird to be the only thing I know about this universe character. Help. I'm going to go buy some ice cream. Best, Leah. Thank you for your email, Leah. If you could let your dad know that I enjoy his book Watling Street, which I have read. It's a good book.
2017's Watling Street.
It's like a tour. There's a very old road in England called Watling Street, and it goes through like lots of historic places.
What is he doing?
What do you mean?
What books does he write?
He writes novels, but he also writes like historical. Like here's all these historic places in England.
And I know he was also born in 1971.
Mr. Facts over there. There we go.
Thank you.
Leah, Judge Dredd is a very angry man with a gun and a motorcycle, but it's okay. He's on our side, sort of, because
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
But if
he's
you
on
do
the side of the law.
Yeah.
Has the future, and
your dad has a building because he probably did something great.
Yep.
Like
or
writing.
Judge Dredd shot him.
Or Judge Dredd shot him. We don't know.
We don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
And there's crime, and he's got to fight that crime. He's a man fighting crime. It's hard to describe a Judge Dredd, isn't it?
You should watch the movie with your dad.
Watch the movie Dredd.
Tell us.
Yes,
I mean,
he's a hard-nosed cop with a heart of gold, but not really.
No, he's a hard-nosed cop and he's a prick.
That's the one.
And it's probably a genetic thing.
Yep.
I've got one more, Mason.
I'm ready.
Scott says, I keep pestering you guys about this, but please watch Doom Patrol. I really want to know what your thoughts are. You keep referencing HBO shows, and I keep having you mention it, but it hasn't happened.
Haven't we mentioned Doom Patrol?
You have a lot.
Oh, yes.
I have not seen it. So I think that's what's happened here.
Oh.
You love it, don't you?
I do. It's a good show. I haven't seen season 2, though. So
Because it's not on anything here yet, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think so. I'll bring the DVD over next, or whatever I've got.
What am I going to put it in?
but
The
you-
bin?
No, put
I
it in
got a
your
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
And I have a DVD player also.
Yeah, nice, cool.
My computer doesn't have a DVD drive though.
Wow.
I only found that out recently when I went to like rip a disc or watch, and I went, oh shit. Well, I've had this for 3 years and I've never checked.
Yeah.
Because I've never needed to.
There it is,
Why is
yeah.
this fucking laptop so thick then, Mason? It's thick as my fucking head. Not that thick. You know, things get funnier when it's later. Mason, let's go home.
Let's go. Thank you, everybody, so much for
I'm
listening
firing
to
up the
show.
jet. We can do a call back to that because it was in this show.
Oh, yeah, cool. Good
Episode
stuff.
1.
Folks, thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you very much for subscribing and telling a friend and leaving a nice review. James, you got a nice
Got a
review
couple
there?
of nice reviews, Mason.
Very
this really
nice.
helps us out the show. You can do them short, long, whatever you want. This one is from Cool. This review, it says this review is 5 stars. It's going to help out a lot. It's true. It helps the show a lot. It's from JK Grace. It says best. If this podcast was ranked based on bears, it would be the Black Bears of Bears. Diverse and never-ending, The Weekly Planet is the kind of podcast that delivers it all. Like the Black Bear is a diverse omnivore. I love seeing what they're going to say and just sitting back and listening anywhere. Have a good time. I knew that the bear was an omnivore, but I've never heard it phrased like that. Of course it's an omnivore. It's eating plants, it's eating fish. It's doing it all.
It's eating men.
It's eating men.
Yeah.
Cool. What next, Mason? What next?
Well, if you'd like to get in contact with us, you can go to Weekly Planet Pod at Gmail, at Facebook, at Twitter, at Bandcamp.
Yes.
You can go to the planetbroadcasting.com. You can look at all the podcasts on the Planet Broadcasting Network. You can sign up to the newsletter from the great Rob Collins. He's at Raw Collins on Twitter. He's at The Weekly Planet on Twitter.
That's right.
I'm Wikipedia Brown on Twitter, and I'm also Nick Maso, NickMaseau on Instagram. James, you're Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere. James, if people want to support the show, what they can do
What can they do? What can
go
any of us do?
to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies if they'd like to chuck in a buck to help keep the lights on in this podcasting studio because it's dark now. It's dark and cold. And how we keep the lights on.
Well, you know, I mean,
you could pay a bloody bill.
I've got income from my other job that I do.
Oh, yeah, nice.
The
That's pretty
podcast
cool.
Suggestible.
Oh, nice. That's great.
That's like $100K a year doing
That's
that.
really-
Yeah. It's like 30 minutes of work.
Wow,
but
that's very,
pays
very
off.
rewarding emotionally and financially. So that's great.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even like doing it, but
Wow.
for $100K, I'll do it.
Is it because there's like
For us, me and Claire. So it's like $200K in total.
oh yeah, that's
Just to
pretty good.
clarify,
Yeah. Because you sell guns on that, right? Is
Sell
that
guns
what
on
you
that,
sell
yeah,
guns on it?
it's-
Nice. So like warlords and stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
They listen and
It's
they like
disguised as a
Yeah.
podcast watching my marriage fall apart. But
Nice,
I mean,
but
it is that, but it's also guns.
That's nice. That's
Yeah,
good stuff.
thank you.
But look, if you want to support us in a different way, you can also click on the Amazon affiliate link in our episode description if you want to buy some stuff on Amazon.
That's right.
Or you can sign up to bigsandwich.co. Where we've got all sorts of bonus podcasts and a comic book
Big one
review
this week.
podcast.
Yeah.
And we do movie commentaries and all kinds of stuff.
We're going to do a spooky one, aren't we?
We're going to do a spooky
For
one.
Halloween. And we're going to do a Halloween episode, which might be next week or the week
my
after,
goodness,
whenever
okay.
Halloween is.
Very good
It'll have to
stuff.
be next week, actually.
Okay.
Because the week after that, it'll be
After Halloween?
after Halloween. And I'm not having that, quite frankly.
There we go.
Facebook wants to send you notifications. Fuck you. I only use you for the group that we're in.
That's right. Let's see what else. We've got some T-shirts on tpublic.com. You just search for the Weekly Planet. There's all kinds of ones. There's official ones. There's bootleg ones. We don't mind which ones you get.
don't
really.
care.
You
We're
get-
on 100K a year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just get one and get it and take a photo and send it to us. We love to see them out in the wild. I met a listener of the show today in the supermarket, but we both had masks on and we were holding like shopping carts. So you can't really talk.
How did they know it was you?
My face.
How did,
top of
how
my
did
head.
you know it was them?
Because I have too many accessories on, obviously.
Yes.
My top of my
Oh.
head's he's got a weird quiff and glasses, so it's obviously Maso.
You weren't wearing a hat.
No, that's true.
Okay.
But you can't shake hands and you can't do anything.
What
at
did
this
you
point.
discuss?
We just awkwardly like
Did the
walked
dance?
around. Yeah, we did the dance.
Go.
That's right. We all did the Thriller dance.
What specifically
Cole's radio was on.
did this person mention?
They said it's Maso, and I said yeah, and he said I love the show, and I said thanks man.
And that's it?
Yeah, I had milk to buy. Buy a 3
I just thought
milk.
you could have given, the fan like a more compelling experience.
I mean, we hung out, obviously. We hung
yeah,
out for
I
hours
was
after
gonna
that.
say, good, yeah.
We've got Thank You to the Brute and the Basilisk and Rack and Frolic musical themes.
Yeah.
That's a whole show. Next week, Halloween, did you say?
Yeah, why not?
My goodness, that sounds
I don't know
very
what we're
spooky.
doing. We'll just maybe pick some spooky movies we like. We'll talk
Yeah,
about
nice.
it. Whatever.
Maybe we could just talk about spooky experiences in our life.
I've only had one. I can
James,
tell
we
it
could
next
tell
week.
ghost stories.
I have one.
Oh,
It's not a
ghost
real
story.
one, but I got one.
Oh, nice.
I think I've told it before.
I've got 100 real ghost stories that really happened to me. So Folks, get excited for that.
Can you narrow
101 ghost stories, 100 of which are real and one of which is fake and James's. That's next week on the podcast.
Terrific. Thanks for listening, guys.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.